Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Saturday Night Sci-Fi Shadow Chat. With me tonight, as usual, we got this guy.
Hello. Just waiting for my camera to boot up.
All right, why? Okay, that's weird. Uh, the
Uh,
bring people on
there we
stage
go.
screen would not go away. I couldn't get to the
Uh,
chat because there's all of all of you wonderful, shining, smiling people out there uh, watching the show as per usual. How you doing, man?
okay. I was doing some writing. Would have been here a
Cool,
little
cool.
bit sooner if it weren't for that.
Right on. It's funny because you said you were playing Space Engineers, but
I'm still doing that.
okay. Sure. Okay, Connell. Welcome to the show.
Uh, um, no, Space Engineers has a lot of you know how when you played Minecraft, right?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, you know when you sit in front of a mob spawner to let it fill up,
Hmm.
or just wait for some farm to work. You'd be doing something else. Space Engineers has a lot of that going on in it.
Cool. Welcome to the show, Mercurius. And Michael Stronghold. How you doing? Long time no see, Michael.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I haven't played a video game in forever, but I've played a lot of games like that.
Yeah.
I've kind of been itching to go check out No Man's Sky. Yeah, thanks, Mike. But
Mm.
I just don't have the freaking time. I think I've gotten like 2 pages maybe done written this weekend. Uh, I just broke page like 20 or 21, and these characters won't shut the shit up. You know, they're in this one scene and they're just like blah 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 blah. I'm like, can we
Yeah.
hurry up and get on to the action? And mind you, I'm writing it.
Well,
Yes.
you can edit that shit out later.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's all pertinent information. They're trying to predict where the bad guy's going to strike next,
Hmm.
and they had to go through all these variables and stuff, and I can't just like hand wave it and have them figure it out. It had to have its logical discussion to get to that point.
Uh.
Yeah, I just figured out how to do that. Mercurius, No Man's Sky is great, and my son and we've been playing it for years. So we saw how it was not in the earliest of beginnings, but in like the first year, and how much it's gotten bigger and better. RPG Dad, welcome to the show. Just waiting for a couple more people before we jump into the titled topic. I'm gonna try it
Yeah.
again
Let's
because
just
last
world
week
building. I did that. That's in my document, right? I did a bunch of that a
I
couple
believe
weeks ago.
I believe so.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
I'll have to wing it.
but,
I'm getting
but I
feedback.
just wanted to go through the traveler version of it because every one of the items in the Universal Planetary Profile are great things that you need to know. Hey, what's up, Grim? Hope you're
Yeah.
ready for tomorrow night's game. I certainly am. I've got 2 games tomorrow. I've got a playtest game in the morning, like early morning, and then I've got my regular D&D game in the evening with Justin,
Yeah.
Grim, and maybe Omen, and Off Grid Gaming, and
Hi, Grim.
Raven, and Armstrong from Mad Adventures. Armstrong has just been pumping out Halloween videos left and right, and I feel so bad because I haven't watched a single one of them. I also have my Dice Tower to finish up this week. It's going to be and Thursday, the Red Room has invited me over onto their show at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon because they want to talk horror games. So it's going to be just like a freaking busy week. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
got
Yeah. I've got nothing. Just my usual schedule.
yeah. Well, you've got to finish your story, and you got a game tomorrow night, and
Yeah, that's usual schedule stuff, though.
yeah. It's oh, and I bought a pumpkin today, so I got to freaking carve that. But I'm letting the little guy draw the face, and then I can cut that out easy.
No, he's a big boy now.
Well,
You let him stab himself a few times.
I am gonna show them how to do that. I've been showing them how to do a lot of things lately, and today our we thought it was our washing
Yeah,
machine
you're
was
you're
leaking.
about 6 years overdue for that conversation. He should have been doing that for years now.
No, he already knows all about the birds and the bees. Um,
No, no, well, yeah, that too. But the carver and the pumpkin,
oh no, 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 no. We don't always do it. A lot of times, it's pointless because no one's going to come by. But we figure,
you don't carve the pumpkin for the decoration outside. You do it for all the stuff you remove that goes into pumpkin pie.
I'm not a huge fan of pumpkin pie. I eat one maybe once a year, which
Have you made it fresh? Make it
no.
fresh. You'll love pumpkin pie.
I don't
And
like it. I don't like it enough store bought to consider it
and
great
all
homemade.
that stuff you're pulling out of the pumpkin to begin with is what goes into the pumpkin pie.
There's never that much to make a pie out of.
There's filler. It's seasoning.
All right.
Trust me. Look up recipes.
Okay, Grim, just plug her in. You can always come back and watch us later. We're going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
But we thought my washing machine was leaking, and it turned out it was the dryer, and then it turned out the dryer needs replacing because it would just be cheaper than replacing the inner spin carriage thing that's broken down, its seals and whatnot.
How
Um,
often do you clean them?
uh, Pretty regularly. It's just
Okay. Because you.
it's easy 6 years old, and that's
Hmm.
probably a record. When we bought the washing machine 4 years ago, they said, "Well, you probably have to replace it in a year. They don't make them to last longer than that." I'm like, "You've got to be freaking kidding me!" Yeah, I mean, I'm like,
Oh, that's BS. No, they last a lot longer than that
"Well, yeah, clearly
if
our
you
washing
maintain
machine
them.
is fine." Uh,
But most
but
people don't clean them out. They don't pull the traps out. They don't
yeah,
pop the side panel every 6 months like you're
yeah,
supposed
no,
to.
no, it wasn't the usual valve that was leaking. It was the whole
Yeah.
inner. And to be honest, uh, Jackie's mom likes to overload the dryer,
Ugh.
which I'm like, no. Same with the washing machine. It's like jamming shit in there. No, no, no. It's better to
No.
do multiple light loads than one big load. But you know, the
I understand the theory on it, but I've been known to do that as well. Uh,
it's funny. Oh, hey, crafting.
crafting. I thought you weren't going to come crafting.
Yeah, dude. And I didn't hear the beep, so that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
didn't bring you right in when you came in. What's up? What's up, TCG?
yeah. New
I was
picture.
told I had to have. I was told I was demanded to appear.
By
Oh
who?
yeah, I see you got the paperwork in the mail. Good. Um,
Uh, no, seriously, I knew I didn't have to, but I am a little autistic, so even if it's joking, when you say you have to show up, I feel kind of obligated. Not putting
well, no, I
things on
just
you.
wanted
I
you
Well,
know
to
it's me,
put
and
your.
I need to work on it. I really need to work on it. I will admit.
yeah. Now I'm making it clear with the story things on Fridays, the book, the writing club. You don't have to attend if you don't want to.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
Well,
especially if you're not into it, then you're just gonna write crap. You've
yeah.
got
yeah.
to. It's like
Well,
painting. You've got to be into it.
The only person that has to attend out of everyone in the world is
It's Rainbow.
Shadow.
Oh,
Because the whole purpose of that
yeah,
is to fuck with Shadow. Like it's like ninety
I,
percent of my show.
okay.
yeah. I understand. And honestly, I think I will skip the smut simply because I can't think of anything good that doesn't break at least one of the rules that Justin said.
It's not my rules; it's Amazon's rules.
Yeah,
I
I
just
know. It's
copy and
I
pasted
just
them. Okay.
you
it's
know,
fair. I'm just saying.
I, 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 I'm right there with you, even more so. But I never shy away from the challenge unless I just know I can't possibly, for a legitimate reason, step up to said challenge.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it, but I am looking forward to making my son just die a little inside when he finally comes across what I've written. years from now,
Yeah,
hopefully.
when you print it out and shellac it to the walls of his bedroom.
No, 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 no. I've passed away in the future sometime, and he's going through my things, and he finally cracks my
Yeah. In
password.
quotations,
Uh,
passed away.
right, yeah, because I
Just
was
moved on
really
to your new
just
family.
right, exactly. It'll be the 37th, I think, so far, and he'll come
37,000.
across the password or figure it out, uh, and go, oh, what's this over here in Google Docs? Oh, these are all his stories. Oh, what's this one? Oh, dear God,
I'm
Hey,
blind.
hey, what's up, Cody? If you want to
Cody.
join the discussion, you know where the link is. It's in my Discord. Although I don't know if you're on my
Hey,
Discord.
Cody.
Um, it's at the top of my Discord channels, the live stream links, or I can send it to you if you do the
Oh, you
request
you,
thing
uh,
in
you
Discord.
sent an interesting
Um,
link, by the way.
also,
It
The
goes
event.
through the main restream, and then you can come to the stream
Yeah,
instead of
it's
just
an
going straight
event
to the
link.
stream.
that's
He,
weird.
he actually sent both of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think it's
oh,
probably a new feature they're adding.
yeah.
I just go for the link that's at the bottom, so I know for a fact I got the right one.
Bubba, what's
Yeah.
up? Same thing. You know where the link is if you want to join us. I liked your video this morning, or what have you, on in person versus virtual tabletops. These days, like I said in the comment, likelihood I'm gonna vet people and let them into my house is pretty slim. So, this is what I got. This is what I do. When I open the shop in Texas, then I'm going to have, my pick of lots of local weirdos to play in person with. And of course, I'll have people like Brian and Omen and Bruce and Josh to, who live, or I should say, who will, be local in the state. Uh, oh, okay.
That
No
does not
problem.
sound right.
Well, I
Mobile
pegged
and
him.
it's loud here.
Oh, well, I'm reading that as it's a mobile ATM. Oh, I'm at a mobile. I misread that. Ignore me.
Yeah, that's okay. I was making a
Yeah,
pizza.
I am slightly what's the word, dyslexic. So
Dyslexic.
sometimes I end up miss words or misread words. That is a lot not what I read. At any rate,
Yeah, I can see that.
Hmm.
Hey, what's up, Anon? And I did
Uh,
send the link to Raven and George, who knows where he is at this very moment. Um,
George
but
Stephanopoulos.
and,
oh, don't downgrade poor George that way.
yeah,
George
He's George of the
Stephanopoulos.
Roosters.
yes, yes.
Uh,
Oh,
Oh, change his name to that when he gets here. George of the Roosters instead
yeah.
of
I wanted to ask him
George.
why
Average
he
George.
chose that name. For his new channel, which I have to actually use this device to go searching around. Hey, what's up, Raven? On my YouTube settings and stuff, trying to use it on my tablet, I couldn't get to the spot, and today's been a pain in the ass all day. Um, Grocery shopping and the washing machine fiasco. Hungar, what's happening, man? It's good seeing
Hungar.
you. It's good seeing you Friday. I don't know if you heard Justin. Hungar says he's going to actually do some streams,
I
and then
didn't. The guy didn't send me the link to the damn stream.
it was like a 20-minute stream,
I saw
just
that.
just
It's an hour.
barely enough time to say hi to him and James. Jackie was here too, which was
Yeah, he
awesome.
said something very
Jackie
funny
was
to you,
shocked
but I
when he
don't
was on
remember what it
too.
was. Oh, he called you
Ungar's on.
something. I'm gonna have to
Really?
look it up.
That was honestly kind of, for lack of a better term, cute.
He
Jackie's
called you
reaction to
something
Ungar.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, one pick your favorite of the two usual, uh, you know,
Yeah.
put downs from him. Both are, absolutely not true, but funny as hell. You're at a haunted attraction, so I started watching the stream. Okay, cool. That sounds like fun. I haven't been to a good haunted house or thing like that in 25 years. The last one I was at Irvine Park, where Irvine Meadows used to be. I don't know if it's still there. It was great because
I
there's this
was
huge outdoor thing.
Yeah, my local theme park will actually have because it's called Silverwood. They'll have something called Scarywood where they do around Halloween. They reverse the roller coaster. They have scary things. The second year it was open, I went because a buddy of mine had his girlfriend at the time was working there, so she got a bunch of free tickets. So I got to go.
Cool.
It was. I could see they were trying, but they didn't have any masters of horror or scary genres in the theme. They just kind of went, "Oh, this is Halloween slasher theme, so and we'll just use that."
Uh,
There was
you
a
gotta.
couple of spots where it could have been good. One, well, it was kind of okay, like though the turnaround was even better. Uh, a woman in a completely spandex outfit, black spandex outfit, walked up behind me and screamed. I turned around, and even though she's wearing a black spandex outfit, you can tell she's well endowed.
That's funny.
Uh-huh.
One of my last
Probably
times
why
at
they put it in that outfit.
and not
Well, she was
Scary Farm,
supposed to
which
not be
is
seen.
normally Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh,
There was this one attraction room, whatever, where the walls were all white with paint splatters everywhere, and there was this guy in a white full spandex leotard, whatever you call it, thing. Even his face, so you couldn't see him, but I could. So I walked by and I pat him on the head, and he couldn't do anything about it. I just know he's just like, "Oh, dude, I want to punch you," because they're not allowed to touch the guests, and technically you shouldn't be touching them either. But it was like, hey, dude,
Yeah,
nice job of trying to hide, but apparently, because they had like some weird like pink or neon light in the room, so that it was like helping diffuse, you know, his hiding spot or what have you. And
yeah.
I was just like, see ya, you know.
yeah.
Oh,
And
what
the other,
was?
But I gave him the Benny Hill pat on the head. It was freaking for me, it was hysterical. For him, probably not so much. But if you're going to stand like a gargoyle in the kind of in the center of the room, thinking nobody's going to see you, you might have next time have some friends come in and see if they can see you. Um, but I love this time of year. Uh, Normally, this year it's been kind of dialed back down to like a 3, just for various reasons, the economy or I don't know, probably the economy, because everywhere I go, people are just like complaining about prices and affordability of things. And
a dollar store now, a Dollar Tree has everything at $1.25 at least, and they have $5 items now.
yep, yep, yep. And this year, as same as last year, was recycled stuff from 3 years ago, and there was literally almost nothing worth buying in the way of crafts that I already didn't stock up on, except do I have it here? I got a little plastic skull that if you pour water in it, it'll start making fog, which is kind of cool. It was like 5 bucks, like you said. Other than that, I
I'm
didn't.
I'm I'm waiting for them to be rebranded as the $10 stores.
That'll only
Yeah,
be a year and a half off from the way inflation's been going. It's really sad. Uh,
Well, they've been like $1 to $3 here for a long time.
mhm.
Uh, but yeah, it's
And
more
well,
and
even
more
in the
things are
UK, it's called
shifting.
the pound store, and a pound
Yeah,
is $2.2, right, or something like that.
yeah,
So, what bugs me the most are the little things. Where you think, oh, because it's a dollar store, it must be cheaper, but it's actually more expensive than if you go to a regular store.
yeah. Some things like you can get like brand name like shampoos and shit, but they're usually a smaller volume bottle.
Right, right.
Uh,
But the first thing I noticed was candy bars.
mm, they're
Okay,
still
I grew up and they were like 10 cents each. Mind you, this was when I was a little kid. And
hmm
then I noticed that they were 50 cents, 79 cents, and then it seemed like everybody went to the 7-Eleven prices. You know,
yeah, the like $2.50 almost or whatever.
Right. I mean,
They're still cheaper at the dollar store
Now,
here, and then you get the Turkish brands for like half price. Or
but
now when Shadow
they
says cents, he actually means the teeth inside a sand dollar, because a sand dollar is what they actually used for a dollar back when he was a kid.
right, right. But and then of course,
oh
at the checkout aisle, when you go to check out, they're like, literally like almost $3, and I'm like, you're kidding me. You know,
Yeah.
how do they even sell? What kind of people, go, oh, okay, I want a candy bar. So, you know, it's almost like they're
You
driving
will
any
be
intelligent
amazed how
person.
many people don't actually look at the price tag. They just, I want a candy bar, snag.
yeah, that's why they're positioned where they are. They're impulse
Sure,
buy items.
but yeah, but that was initially to sucker the parents' kids into grabbing them. You know what I mean? It's
And
like,
now
I
those
want a
kids are
candy
all
bar.
grown up and just buy them for
Have that
themselves.
mentality from their parents doing that.
And
Yeah,
literally, if you buy things in bulk now, which is like the only way you can survive, it's like if you want a
yeah,
candy bar every day, you might as well go over to your big
Oh
box
God.
store, Sam's, Costco, something like that, and buy the freaking case, and then they
hmm
drop down to uh, about a buck a piece, which is still too much.
yeah. Well,
It really
you've
is.
seen me do that. Buy the box of
Mhm. What's up, George? You know where
candy
the link is,
bars.
man. Get in here.
Uh, boop, 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 boop.
Unless you're doing some other stuff, in which case we'll get on to the actual regular topic,
I'm gonna
which
order a
is
pizza though.
He has George right now has a sword and a shield and is fighting a giant rooster.
Mhm. Well, I'm dying to ask him, why he picked Rooster Games for the name of his show.
Is he has he done a show yet?
I was just going to get to that. I meant his channel, but
Yeah.
with his voice, etc., I don't see why he doesn't just every once in a while make a couple of videos, like our friend Bubba does, and other people, just feel like talking, just turn on your camera, turn on your
Yeah.
phone, whatever, and let the world hear you. Uh, I'm finding that I enjoy the smallest of channels more than I do the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just because one, I know these people well enough, to call them my friends, and thus, want to and hear from them. Bubba always comes up with great stuff. And then his laugh, his trademark laugh, and other choice words that he uses that other people would never think of using uh, in polite company, and you don't get any politer company than YouTube, right?
Well,
oh,
Beelzebub is also a little bit, so we say, book learned. So he has words that he can also use that nobody else really can
book
use in
learned.
the show.
I wouldn't use the word book learned.
Unless you want to sound like you're from the 1850s, um,
No. I'm just
or
saying, like,
from the what do they call it, deep hillbilly country,
yeah.
which there's nothing wrong with that. I find that most of my friends come from there,
I,
which
I actually,
which has to
up
drive my
till
old
about
man crazy.
a
Why?
decade ago, I was in hillbilly country. So not about a decade ago, yeah.
My old man was very anti-South, you know. Even though he married a
Weird.
woman from Georgia, he's snobby Democrat. Thought he was better than everybody, intellectually, and like, yeah. And every time you need something done, who do you call? That's right, someone who knows how to get shit done. And it's like, he couldn't help it. He was from Chicago, so that's always been kind of
Chicago.
yeah.
If we could build a time machine and go back and nuke it and say like the 1810s.
What's up, RPG Exile? So, George, is that a year and there, or you need some time? Because we can sit and goof off for, hours. We've done that before, and recently, as a matter of fact. Um,
We can always just get started.
yeah,
I've ordered a pizza, so I got to keep an eye out for that.
gotcha.
Well, we know what Justin's planet's going to be, the planet of pizza.
How do
Well,
you mistake him for Janet from another planet?
Yeah,
I was
I'm
just
I mean,
watching
far
Bruce.
too. I am far too attractive for that.
uh, that's just
You
funny
wish.
because it's not the first time you've done that. They're crafting. Uh,
Not that I've noticed.
yeah, I do it too all the time. As suggested in my game, I'll call my players who I've known for years the wrong name, and it's just for me. It's like I assume with you crafting the first letter of the name, you get caught on it, or like with Omenal, it's the O
Well,
sound. You know, it's just my brain
no.
just like latches on. I'm trying to say this, but then the other word comes out because I've been saying the other word or the other name a lot lately, kind of thing. So, how is Bruce in the game?
They're doing pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Uh, Grog, the player for Grog, has given up Bruce's game because he got tired of having to role play.
Who was that?
The real murder hobo of the group.
No, the
Oh, I can't
player.
remember his name. Greg, I think. George? No, not George.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, you realize this is a role playing game, right?
Mm,
Uh,
well,
or at least ostensibly. It was a role playing game. I get it.
well,
There are different kind of players. Some people want 10% role playing, 90% combat. Some people want 90% role playing, 10% combat. I'm about a third, and a
Well,
third.
Greg, maybe?
I think it
Whoever it
is
was.
Greg. Yeah, I know exactly. Is
Greg?
he the one who played the character who had the tiger?
No, I'm talking about the guy who played the giant half orc that I know you
Oh
would
yeah,
be
yeah,
fond
yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking
oh,
about.
I played a half orc. His name was Lurg.
of. Huh.
I liked Lurg.
He wasn't like 10% RPG, though. He was literally no RPG.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, some people, what
or role play
a lot
in
of
the
people
game.
don't realize is that for some people that's really hard to do, not because they don't know how or anything, but like it feels embarrassing to them. You
Huh.
know what I mean? It's like this weird thing, like there is somehow it's childish or immature to pretend and things like that, and it's just you got to come at it like for those people that this is a hypothetical situation. Hypothetically, you're this character. Hypothetically, what would that character do? How would they act until they become more comfortable with it? Uh,
Yeah.
I've seen it literally in groups where you've got that one actor guy who's doing this, stuff, and the other people are just like, okay, what did we just walk into?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
hamming
the
it
whole
up just a
group of
little
those
too
people.
much.
And the worst part about it
Sometimes
is
it's none of
that
those people.
usually ends up making people feel like they have to be more flamboyant when that's
Uh,
just him being him.
uh,
And you
That's
don't. I
been my
mean,
experience.
that's
yeah,
that one character who's that character or the player or both that are that way, but there's also room, there should be that that edge lord, that moody sitting in the corner, not saying anything guy, versus the guy who every once in a while comes up with something, and that one
yeah.
guy who's always cracking the jokes. We
Yeah.
should do a video on the stereotypical personality types, because once you because if you get too many of
The one
one,
that smells like cats. The one that smells like hasn't showered in 3 years. The one that doesn't bring any beverages. The personality types.
well, there's two different kinds of personality types. The real world
I'm just
personality
joking.
types, but no, but you're not wrong though. You're not
And the
wrong.
game table personality types.
Because I have played in so many games that I know exactly what you're talking about. There is that one guy who doesn't know what the shower is, or waits until he's back home from the game. He's like, "Oh, I'll be taking a shower tonight. What's the
Well,
big deal?" Well, the big deal is right now everybody's eyes are watering.
yeah,
So,
you could have done
You're
that
supposed to.
I'll
before
admit
the
I have a
game.
bad habit of not showering every day when I'm not going to public, but before I go into public or I'm going to be social in any way, I always shower.
Yep, yep.
Well, with here, or me, I should say, if it's like really, really, really cold, I got to wait until the temperature's right throughout the house, etc. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it can cause my back to go out, and I can't have that.
I
That's why
understand
So
that.
you gotta do it because it's funnier when your
Rooster,
back
you're
goes
supposed
out.
to use the private chat. It makes it easier for everyone to know you're in the lobby.
and I don't see you in the lobby.
Yeah.
Literally, it says three here, unless you just left because you got fed up waiting for me. Um,
It's the
I think
link
he's more
below the
patient than that,
one.
honestly.
If you go into the, unless you went into the lobby for my show, which is like they still sit there.
yeah. You should. I mean, yeah, it's in the live stream links, right under the thing. It's the last one because I'm watching that screen. So, folks in chat, give me a minute uh, for him to show up. Yeah, there he is. Welcome to the show, George. How you doing, man?
Oh, good. I think I clicked the wrong one.
It's all right.
Sorry about that.
So, how you doing?
Good, good.
Okay, why Rooster Games?
Oh, I just like I said, I just wanted to make a channel, kind of inspired by you guys. So I think
Cool.
try to make a video and it didn't work. So
Okay,
gonna make one probably
but
a
why the
couple
name
weeks.
Rooster? Is there?
Oh, my last name means rooster,
Oh, okay,
and yeah, and it's yeah, like they're pretty cool.
that's interesting.
And I actually have a rooster now, which sucks because he's an
A dick.
asshole.
Yeah. Yeah,
we
birds in general are kind of jerky pets.
Yeah, yeah, they're a vain animal. My wife, they were in the park one day and they saw some kids playing with like a little chick, and they're just going down the slide on it and kind of a little rough with it and stuff like that. And my wife and some other lady, they kind of went up to kids. It's like, no, you can't abuse these animals, and it's like, well, what are we gonna do now? Does anybody have want to take this chick? And of course, we have chickens, so we took it home and we figured out why this was this left in the park, and it was because it was probably they probably figured out it was a rooster pretty early on, and just like dumped him in the park. He was starving, the poor guy. But
Hmm.
So are you gonna fatten them up and have them for
look,
Christmas?
coq au vin or something, or whatever they call it. Tempted to, but I hate. We had a we had a
You hate
horrible.
poultry.
No, I love chicken. I love eggs, but egg layers, they're cool.
You don't get eggs from roosters, but I'm sure you know that now.
Yeah. The thing is,
You
so
do get meat.
you do get meat. You do also get a protector for the flock, but they're also jerks and they can't protect you from everything. They can maybe protect you from a hawk. But
Mhm.
last week we had a horrible incident where on Sunday the neighbor's dog dug under the fence and got in there and killed three of them.
Ooh.
And he just, I guess he escaped, thankfully. But
Did you
the,
did you bill did you bill the neighbor?
nah, he's a nice guy, and the dog is a nice dog. Like I went in there and the dog didn't like attack me or anything. Poor thing was in
Yeah, but I
like
mean, still, that's
it's their instinct. You have to teach them not to do it. I was thinking
yeah.
about getting Christy Gnome down here to deal with them, but
That's funny. You're right though, because I raised Chewy to chase birds, and if I
Mhm.
say get the birdies, he'll go chase them unless it's a one of these giant turkey-sized crows we have in the neighborhood. I kid
Yeah,
you not. They're like this freaking big. Uh,
yeah,
the body from head to tail, and fat. I mean, they two of them could take him into the air, maybe even
Mhm.
one, and he's like, that's kind of scary, Dad. But
yeah.
everything else he'll
Do it
chase.
anyway. Gotta learn.
Oh yeah,
But
my
uh, Jackie's mom and his grandma uh, found a bird that had a broken wing, and they decided to try to nurse it back to health and everything. And uh, eventually, somehow, it got pregnant and had eggs. And so then we ended up with two or three more birds, and I had to teach Chewy, no, you don't get those ones. Oh, TCG just left. He'll be back. And he was really good about it. He would like kind of like chase them, like not run, but like follow them. And they would run faster. The mom's wing never got, never healed. She could never fly again. Um, but they went from little baby birds all the way up to where one of them, all of them flew away except one, and the one that didn't fly away, it was almost as big as the mom. And then one day,
Mhm.
they're looking around the backyard, all they find are feathers.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
the
my
crows will eat their own kind, I guess.
oh
Uh,
yeah, we give them leftover chicken all the
they
time.
don't get fat off digging into our trash cans. That's for sure.
I'll be 10 or 15 minutes.
The my
It'd be
so
that way.
we're at the house my wife grew up at, and she had this dog, a Maltese, and she loved being in the yard and running around. And while she was away at college, I guess they let before it got dark, but I guess it was just out a little bit too late, and an owl came and got her. So like the few days before, we were always worried about these owls coming by. So I was fixing up the top of putting like a netting over the top of the
Uh-huh.
run and stuff like that. And next thing you know, like, oh, we're now it's nice and safe. And next thing you know, the next day, boom, they're all half of them are gone. Oh, the funny thing is now about the rooster is that so we figured, all right, we have a chick that's by itself, and weren't planning on getting chicks this year. So to integrate it into the flock, it's kind of going to be by itself. It's going to be a little bit of a loner and stuff. So we decided to get 2 chicks in addition to it. So we got 2 Buff Orpington chicks, and also one of the Buff Orpingtons turned out to be a rooster. Sadly, he died Sunday. He was a little younger and a little smaller than the one we have now, but he was a little bolder, and I think he tried to stop the dog, but it was horrible. Yeah,
Yeah, because
this was yeah.
even a really small dog can take out a bird, no problem.
Yeah, they're heavier. It's just the weight. Yeah.
And the strength of the jaw. It's funny you mentioned owls. I've got we live out here in California, and there are 3 owls that do this triangulation thing where they're one on this tree, one on this tree, and then one far away, and they're like communicating, and at certain times you can just hear them from you can hear the close ones, it's like hoo, and then way off in the distance, and I know like it's like hundreds of yards away, the other one, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? you know uh One way out here, in the desert, where
Yeah.
there's got to be slim pickings for food, and the competition of the crows, and there's like almost nothing else. We don't have too many rodents. We don't have rats or mice or
Yeah.
anything like that anywhere around. We did have a vole problem, but we gassed those little bastards right quick,
Yeah.
which was interesting. Uh, I hadn't had to do that in like 50 years.
Yeah.
When I was real little, we had the same problem, but it was gophers or whatever. And Dad's like, "Here, light this and toss it in there."
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. Make sure you put the sparky end in there. Like, all right. And then we covered it up, and then no more problem.
Yeah. If I kill all the gophers on the golf course, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key. So, what was that? Caddyshack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of Bill Murray's best movies before he turned into a douchebag, like everybody else who gets famous like that. It's
Yeah.
like I wonder if they ever think about it, or they just don't care. They're so desperate to become rich and famous that
Yeah.
it's like, oh, small price to pay becoming a douchebag. I'm like, no, that's a heavy price to pay, my friend.
Yeah. There's so few. I think I'm starting to kind of see. I think a lot of people they're just going with money. They're just giving them like a couple. I don't know how many grand, but they're just giving them a lot of money just to do this stuff. From what it seems like, I think they're saying with Beyonce that they were offering her money or something, and she just didn't do it or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she got in a lot of trouble this weekend. I hear, uh, or the Democratic Party, telling everybody Beyonce's going to do a concert, and then, oh no, she's just going to talk for 3 minutes and then skedaddle, and
Yeah.
took with her thousands of people left at the same time. It's like, you lied to us. No shit. Get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So What else was there? But of course, Mark Hamill. I'm starting to like just not really care that they who listen. Like I don't care that somebody famous liked something. I just I learned my politics from other things. Watching learning
Uh,
about economics and things like that. I don't understand the person that would like, oh yeah, like Taylor Swift. I like her songs. I'm going to vote the way she does.
uh, yeah, it's I had a case of that recently. Never meet your heroes. And he
Yeah.
wasn't really a hero, just someone, I was like, I kind of looked up to a little bit, and then I was
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yeah.
meeting them in person, so to speak, and like, oh, you're kind of an ass. No,
Yeah.
that it wasn't literally that, but it was like it could be like anything from they're a jerk to they have this glaring weakness that you never see, and then when you see it, you're just
Mhm.
like, oh, kind of don't like you anymore. Here,
Yeah.
take back all your CDs or your movies or whatever. Um, and having worked in Hollywood, etc., it's you
Your
know
fault.
Yeah.
there's I envy the people who can still respect the artists for their art despite how they are. I can't do that. I just can't. I had too
Yeah.
much experience, with certain weaknesses and flaws and things like that. It's like, no, I wouldn't I wouldn't be friends if found out one of my friends was a pedo. We've been
Mhm.
friends for 20 years. I find out he's a pedo, I'm going to be the first guy calling the cops on his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not. There's
Yeah.
no veil of protection or But we've been friends forever. Yeah, but you're a freaking pedo.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I can't help it. Yeah, you can. You just say no. You don't touch the
Yeah.
little boys or the little girls. Everything's fine. You start
Yeah.
doing that shit, you're lucky. I'm just calling the cops, and not taking out one of my very special baseball bats to your head.
Yeah. They can just go to a psychiatrist or something. You get an urge like that.
Well,
There's
in
med
the
for it.
Venture Brothers, they had this great thing called no molesterol.
I have to catch up on them.
Sergeant Hatred,
They
had to
they do
dose.
have a drug in real life that does that, like it
Right,
suppresses your
right. But
appetite.
well, yeah, did they? Didn't they? From what I hear, they've had it for a very long time, called saltpeter.
Like what they make gunpowder with.
Well, it's also what they used to put in people's food so they wouldn't get all, you know,
Ah,
excitable. Let's put it that way. In boys'
suppresses the
schools and
libido.
things like that. Whatever it takes, man. Because that really shouldn't define you. Who or what you want to bang shouldn't be your like. I know, having been a high school teenager, that there's a point in your life where that runs your life, but you should get past that and find out that there's a whole lot of stuff to do. You can't do that all the damn time because someday you'll hit like 50 and you'll be lucky to do
Lies.
it today. Stuff gets in the way, stuff happens. Uh,
They got a drug for that too now.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But trust me, even with that, th- you know, there's only so many push-ups you can do in a day. You know, Justin's looking at
So
me like push-ups. What are you talking about? I've never done a push-up in my life.
Not true. I used to do them all the time. But um,
did you get any toppings on that?
yeah. On half of it, I got sausage, jalapeno, and black olives. And on the other
Okay.
half, I got tomato, roasted pepper, and onion.
Sounds tasty.
Hmm.
Remind me never to eat Justin's pizzas.
I I
I gotta
remember.
I gotta ask Justin, why didn't you just get it all with all of those ingredients, or is that not an option, or too expensive, or is it those? Because I
Free
noticed that you
topping coupon. I
I
always get a
noticed that
free
you
topping
get
coupon.
you tend to have like very not weird but unusual topping groupings on your pizzas.
I eat a lot of pizza. You end up trying every combination.
Uh, I guess I'm like the like everything. I want everything on my pizza. Period. you know, or I want only these things on my pizza,
I
and
used to
that's
do the 8 topping pizza.
I miss that because it's very hard to find now. They act like they're putting gold shavings for every ingredient.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
I fucking hate that.
that's why I've gone to making my own pizza because I'm not paying individual topping prices. I can put as much of it as I want, and it doesn't cost me any more. I went grocery shopping today, and it costs a family of four, us anyways, about 150 a week. But the only reason it's that cheap, because I buy in bulk, and I buy for 2 weeks, not 1 week. So when I get certain things, I'm getting the bigger size, etc. So that I can afford to have, normal foods again. If I went every week, it would be like more like $200 a week. You know what I mean?
You're
And
lucky you don't live in Canada. Double that for a single person.
really,
It can't get that much.
dang,
Hmm.
you must make bank.
It's relative.
Oh, that wasn't a fat joke. Uh, just saying.
Mm.
No, seriously. I mean, everything. I live in California. It's
Mhm.
literally the most expensive or second most expensive state in the union, and uh, I literally that alone, the prices of any other state compared to here would be enough incentive to move. But
It's relative because we have a higher like pay scale and shit like that. Like your minimal wage up until recently was like $6.50 or $7, where ours was already at like $10 or $12.
uh, I'm not sure about that because I know it's 15 or $20 an hour minimum
Now,
for fast
now,
food.
where ours is like 17
Okay.
or something like that. So
That's crazy. I mean, think about it. If
I'm fine.
you're actually better off being younger, getting paid minimum wage, than having had a job for 20 years here, because you had to work all those years just to get to 20, $25 an hour instead of
Buyer,
30 bucks.
it bought more, right? That's why I've always said it's better to have a maximum wage than a minimum,
Yeah, that
because by bringing down the maximum wage, you force the companies to pay the lower ranks more money.
yeah, that's never going to work here.
Well, it takes a thought processing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not in my lifetime because it's just easier to hire illegals, for pennies on the dollar. So,
Yeah, you know
I mean,
that's why
and
the
that's
tariff thing isn't going to work, because they just import the factories instead of the product.
So I'm gonna go downstairs, have a cigarette, and then we are gonna get into the topic. Is everybody ready? You guys been thinking about your particular planet?
He asks and then he
Uh,
takes off before he gets an answer.
yeah, he can still hear us.
Shadow, at least attempt to be professional.
He's making sure he doesn't like see, like, the camera doesn't pick up anyone he lives with,
Occasionally, there are people who don't want to be on camera here.
like his
It
wife.
was a joke.
Um, just what I wrote a couple of weeks ago, and I've been busy with other stuff. It's Mars, but with a honeycomb network city all around the entire planet. And Phoebos and Phobos are turned into massive industrial platforms.
So similar to Coruscant then.
I was wondering if anybody was going to pick up on the moons as well. Uh, Phobos and Deimos,
Demos, Tyros.
always intriguing
Mhm.
because they're not really round, not even close, and
Two low orbiting potatoes.
And I remember
That's because
in
they don't have the mass to actually force them to have the gravity to force them to be round.
Mhm.
well, I think also that they were probably attracted after they had cooled. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they're like recent arrivals versus like most other moons are quite round because they were offshoots of the original planet themselves when it was in a
They're too low and small as well. Like if you want to set up like long-term colonization of Mars, you'll probably have to raise the lower one. From what I understand, it causes a lot of the dust storms on the planet.
I could see also that any man-made activity could literally have it descend. You know what I mean? Like a large explosion on at the wrong angle could force it to start, descending into the planet's surface, and then you're looking
It
at
would have to be nuclear.
yeah, or even the importation of heavy machinery.
Mm.
Could cause the weight. If the weight were to increase by 10 to 30%, I could see it being heavy enough, to sink, so to speak.
That would be a lot of fucking machinery. Most cities don't weigh that much.
Right, right. But after some time, I could see that being a thing. Hey, good dog
Yeah,
eat.
well, you're probably exporting the materials from it, so it's probably going to get lighter anyway.
Right, right. Or just
Mm.
I don't know about that. Uh,
Yeah, from what I understand, one of them was mostly like platinum.
really
Yeah, and a couple other like
heavy
materials in
metals.
that vein. Uh, Platinum, zinc, copper, things you want.
So, did you guys do the any of the actual research into the planet? That you've picked. What it's like.
It's red and
Oh
mostly
yeah,
dusty. It's got two moons.
yeah. Well, it's lucky Isaac Arthur did a recent video on it, so that's pretty cool to know. Um,
Liner notes, so
uh,
to speak.
I, I'm betting we could all go look up our planets on Isaac Arthur, and he's done a recent video on it, and that's within like the last 4 days.
yeah, Elmer Fudd, the Elmer Fudd of futurism.
Yeah. God bless him.
Yeah.
Never giving up on that shit. I mean, so many people. I could just,
Has he
not to
ever
harp
written
on.
anything?
He should if he hasn't.
Sounds like
Yeah.
he may have, but he's read so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like I
If
gotta
he
like to
wrote
read those
some,
things like Larry Niven and stuff like that. Never read him.
Yeah, I tried reading some stuff like that, like Foundation from Asimov.
Hmm.
Oh man, I really don't. I can't get into those really dry books. Um,
Yeah.
I gotta do Foundation.
I
I liked the ones before that in the like when he combined them all into a series, and like this Caves of Steel and that trilogy or anthology, an anthology. It might have been a quadrilogy, four
yeah, the
books, three or four books.
some of the robot short stories are kind of cool. Like it's so early on, and you're like, yeah, robots are kind of cool. They can do a lot of cool things. Like they'll be stronger, they'll be smarter, they'll be faster.
The I'm talking about the ones from the late '70s, early '80s, mid
Mhm.
'80s. The one where it's the detective and he gets to sign the robot partner, and they're like living in a hive city on Earth.
I Robot, right?
Oh, cool.
No, that's a short story.
I think he
Uh,
kind of
Caves of
should.
Steel was the first one. That was that one. Then there was one where they went to maybe Mars, and it was like terraformed, or like another star and it was terraformed. And there are these people that they lived like in 5 acre allotments or something like that, one person per allotment, and they only like met in person to copulate. and it was like the one woman he was like
Assigned.
investigating for a murder was like all freaked out that he was in her personal space where he comes from. Like people live like sardines. And then there was a third book. I can't remember shit about it.
Yeah, he does talk a little. I mean, he's the thing is like, I guess his general premise is a lot of societal control. Like, well, we need to control people, which kind of gets a little bit weird. Like, it's a sort of, and I think it his books kind of eventually peter out because they really just go into this weird direction, and he doesn't really to follow through. You'd have to just make it, like, oh, the smart guy tells everybody what to do, and they'll do it. You know, it does go to if taken to its extreme, it goes to a totalitarian bent. Like all these, like, grand empire things, and like every like science fiction, and this notion of like one world government and stuff like that. It's like, why is that the good thing? Why is that the goal of a scientific, futuristic society? To, oh well, we're not gonna meet these aliens until they like unify in one global government. Like, how about we go to don't meet these aliens until like they get rid of government?
Because that's the way it's always been on Earth. You know, there's been government always
Yeah,
since the earliest of times. There's been some sort of hierarchical system,
yeah,
and it's
It's
hard to
because
think outside that box.
it's because organizations survive longer against hostile threat.
There's safety
mhm,
in numbers.
yeah,
We all, to quote a founding father of your country, we either all hang together or we all hang apart.
yeah. Well, but also all the ones that want to make the biggest chunk together have been the biggest douchebags
Well,
and mass murderers.
mm,
So, I think I linked that whole the what do you call that? The traveler system that you for creating planets. Uh,
you sent it to me, then to Shadow.
yeah, I accidentally put it in your thing, and I meant to put it there.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
happens. It's no
Um,
problem.
it's kind of
I
interesting.
enjoyed
It
it.
was one of the first kind of notions that I ever saw, like, of procedurally generating stuff on a map. I didn't really know much about, like, what do you call that, like West Marches campaigns and things like that. So Traveler is the first place I kind of learned how to about, like, you roll this and you get this attribute, you roll that, you get that attribute. That's applied to terrains and environments.
Speaking of which, I got that right here.
Yeah.
So, an index card is like all you should need for this exercise. You could use whatever format you like, but I'm using an index card because that's just the habit I've gotten into. I really like them. It forces me to, make
Nope.
things concise.
Do not leave the stream to open up my document for that.
So the first thing you're going to need to know about your planet is the size. How big it is.
Mhm.
I recommend you use, whatever earthly, document you can find that tells you what size, the planets in our solar system are, unless you're, doing something from scratch, which I think Omen and gosh, I have it around here somewhere. Huh, that's funny. I realized I wrote down.
Mars.
I did the same card for Pluto twice. Um, Doc and Omen. No, Omen's taken Neptune. Uh, Doc took Sirius. What did you pick? TCG.
Uh, well, to keep things simple, I'm just working off my planet that I built for my game. So I'm Jupiter, yeah, Jupiter, but it's been terraformed to push the gas beneath a certain layer to be harvested later.
Okay, so your neighbors with George.
Cool. I'm on Io. That's
Uh,
basically it's a
One of
moon.
the moons.
Yeah, and it's actually literally the size of our moon, pretty much, but it's a little different.
Mm.
So the first thing is the moon. Uh, the way they do it is from size 0 to size 10. Size 10 is 16,000 kilometers. Size 0 is less than 1,000 kilometers. Asteroid, orbital complex, etc. To
Is it like a diameter?
yeah, and then that gives on the same chart it will give you the surface gravity in G's, where size 0 is negligible. Uh, Earth is 12,800, which is at 1.0, and everything in between 0 and size 8 is less than 1 G, on up to size 9 is 14,400 at 1.25. Size 10 is 1.4 Gs. Anything larger than that would probably crush us, like you know crush you. Um,
Crushing your head.
and just if you give me the size later on, I can tell you according to this roughly what the gravity is. But you can also tweak that a bit, through the technological advancements that have taken place or exist on the planet that you're working on. If for some reason they've, created some field or some plate system that reduces or enhances the gravity. A lot of people don't like gravity manipulation, but those same people hate the movie 2001. So it's like you're
Uh,
either going to work with it or everybody's going to be floating, and it's so hard to deal with in a role playing game situation. If you don't have some sort of gravity to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
The
there's the spin
next,
gravity stuff.
the
The
sorry,
that
go ahead.
Oh, there's spin gravity stuff, and that could be like almost considered like an old technology that might be left over or something. I can imagine
Mhm.
like perhaps there's a like uh, one of those rings. What do you call it?
It's
O'Neill
centrifugal
cylinder or
force.
something like that. Yeah, and that might just be an old station that was built before grav plating or something. I could imagine.
it's like 400 years in the future, so
Yeah,
Right.
who knows what they've come up
That's
with.
why we're allowing ourselves some leeway with these things, as well as you know one, it's science fiction, so it's got to kind of be in the future to some extent, or an alternate history or something to justify a lot of the things that we're going to do. The next one is the atmosphere, and that's very specific. The way they do it in Traveler. 0 is none, 1 is trace. Very thin, 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 tainted, thin, standard, standard, tainted, dense atmospheres, exotic atmospheres, corrosive, insidious, very dense, low, and on the 15 mark, it's unusual. Um, and I don't expect you to, work from these charts. Just, write down what the atmosphere is like, and then I'll tell you what the number is later, so that we can do the profile in the numbers, so that you can kind of start to learn, how they do that. Which it's kind of like, if you were making a D&D character and you wrote out his stats, we would all kind of know that strength is the first stat versus charisma is the last stat. Usually, some game systems it's different, but honestly, 90% of the games out there, strength is the first stat, which is really weird if you think about it. It's like, why is strength the first stat? It's not the most important, but it's always the first. Is that our caveman brain thing working? It's like, well, strength might makes right, or is it just something from our childhood where as boys we want to be big and strong, not as boys we don't think, gosh, I can't wait to be the
Uh,
strongest in the room. You know,
it probably is a holdover from wargaming when all you were was your strength, movement, and that's it. Like,
I can see that. I can see that. I hadn't actually thought of it that way, but once you know what the atmosphere is like. Now, for my planet, I'm going to go with, um, gosh, I don't know. As far as I can guess Pluto's got literally like nothing. It's so far out there.
It's a rock field.
Yeah, if it
Yeah,
had anything, it's
there's no
dust.
atmosphere. Maybe traces of water ice, like water vapors, but not much.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, one thing I'm thinking is because I'm thinking of IO, so it's going to be basically a vacuum on the outside with some traces of sulfur dioxide. Kind of, it's what makes the one of the things that actually make the high radiation environment is that basically Jupiter is ripping out a lot of particles off of the surface of Io. But on the inside, I'm thinking there is not oxygen, but something that's breathable by at least my species.
Okay. Sounds like it could be exotic or um, possibly insidious or corrosive. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it could be something like dense or tainted or some such.
yeah. Maybe like just none on the outside and yeah, exotic on the inside.
And then the next one is hydrographics, which is basically almost number for number. Like 0 is 0 to 5%, 1 is 6 to 15%, whereas 10 is 96 to 100%.
I
So
guess Cheston and I don't get atmosphere.
why not?
You didn't ask us what our atmosphere was.
You just
Oh,
write it
oh,
down.
yeah. It
Oh.
was just a general.
George interjected what he was thinking because he had a
Oh,
weird question.
I thought we were telling our planets. I didn't realize we were just.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like to, I wouldn't mind that setup.
I was thinking thin over the surface of the planet, but when you're in like the city constructs, it's like Earth normal.
okay. And uh,
So even my people need breathable gear to walk the surface of the world.
okay. So suits, that sort of thing.
Uh, remember in B5 when they went to Mars, they just had like warm weather gear and a face mask.
Vaguely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I remember that.
it was like firefighting gear, but
Okay.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not
but
so heavy.
And Jupiter, from everything we know, or at
Hmm.
least think we know, it's
well,
horrific.
we're doing
Mixed.
sci-fi, so what it is for me is they have managed to compress the toxic gas atmosphere down to a lower layer, where they revealed floating islands, which is now which is now an Earth-like sphere around the Jupiter gases, which are harvested as well. I'm pretty sure every chemical we could ever want is in Jupiter's gases. So
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. I, I I wonder how they would like siphon out one gas or chemical from another. I would almost picture it being
oh,
like just
that would just be refineries. You
It
siphon the
is.
gas direct, and then you refine what you want out of it.
yeah.
that would be
And
so high tech, wouldn't it?
if there's
Hmm.
Yeah,
fusion, you would probably be taking a lot of that hydrogen from Jupiter itself. Probably one of the easiest places to take hydrogen from. So that would make sense. Like you could
probably.
start stripping Jupiter over 400 years. You might be able to, and then doing other things. And there's also
Yeah,
with
we in Traveler and other games, a lot of starships just like come down into the atmosphere barely and just scoop up all the hydrogen they need right out of either the water or the air and use it as an unrefined fuel. And some ships will have a refinery on it, like for example, I assume the Nostromo. That place was so freaking huge that it's probably got its own automated refinery.
Hmm.
yeah, I think like the scout ships in Traveler do that.
Mhm.
So that could be like yeah, and we don't have to necessarily use Traveler fueling
No,
rules,
I'm
but
just using this because it's a very uh, concise, matter of fact system of what are the things you need to know as a
mm,
GM and to a lesser extent players. What do they need to know about a planet as soon as they come within weirdo scanning range. They can get all this data from their scanner package and go, okay, this is what the planet's like. Do we even want to like try to set foot on it? Because you know,
So yes, should I just write down thin?
yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe asterisk it, or slash, uh, upper inner kind of
Hmm.
thing. What the
Yeah.
because
You
Normal
can
city.
it's literally like two different locations in one. You
on
know,
the chart, it does say like next to these things, none says vac suit, trace vac suit, thin and tainted
yep,
respirator.
yep, yep.
So you could, if
So
it's thin, you could have
should
a respirator. Um, depending on what Mars is like, if there's been any terraforming.
well
Uh,
a little bit byproduct of.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll put thin respirator city normal or standard or.
Yeah, good call on that. I totally skipped that part. The next is the hydrographics. Percentage of water. Um, we don't really know. We think we do. So the sky's the limit on that particular parameter. You're making shit up, and you know, over time, it would be easy to import water or export water, as the case may be. For the inhabitants' needs. There's probably a lot of trading that would be a resource that some places would be in dire need of, and other places they have too much of it or an abundance of it.
Yeah.
And as we all know, Mars has its ice caps, which would be
Mhm.
easily mined or what have you, and turned into
They're mostly milk.
drinkable water, or maybe even turned back
Hmm.
into air or something like that. So with that one, I would just literally just put a percentage of the planet's surface uh,
Hmm.
as how much water you want on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 5, maybe 10. I'll go with 10.
As in 10%.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they've been bringing it in and like so the grid that's all around the entire planet is the city, and it's like several kilometers thick. And there's
Uh-huh.
like rivers running through all of them with verdant ground going up to the side.
So like actual rivers, not pipes.
Yeah, actual rivers with like green belts.
Awesome.
Yeah, the picture I put in the thing that didn't. Yeah, I couldn't figure out what I was talking about, but
I know. This
uh,
is
especially when it's like abstract, complicated ideas, eh, like
it's
the
amazing.
original.
I was trying to get a picture of a naval battle, high seas, age of
Hmm.
sail kind of thing, and it couldn't make sense of that. I've seen other people do it really well on Night Cafe, but when I tried it, ships got freaking masts sticking out the sides and shit. I'm like, I am not wasting a whole bunch of time, trying to get like ship battles. One ship it kind of okay, but then I did the something similar where it was airships and dirigibles, and it blew my mind just what it came up with. I'm like, why can it do that? And they're fighting, but when I want like sailing ships, you get sails coming out of the sides of the ship.
Oh, I found sailing
Oh,
ships are one of those things that AI need to be
Yeah,
almost taught how to do properly. So you have to do it a few times and sometimes reword it.
yeah.
yeah. When I hit like the 10 mark after 10 images and it's still crap, I'm just moving on because
We
I'm
gotta
not
like
pleased
totally
by.
reword what you want.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, if I do one, it's fine. But when it's multiple, it wants to like have them all crash in to become this porcupine looking thing with sails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water
Oh,
on my planet is about 15%.
Okay, that's still
Ish.
massive.
Yeah. Well,
well,
on the planet itself, water in and of itself isn't quite like Justin's. You have to either find it in the frozen caps occasionally, or you might find a puddle here and there, but because there's no huge landmass, there's no real rivers or things like that. So water is
Right.
in and of
Okay,
itself is considered a
but
currency on the planet.
that should okay. Little science lesson.
Yeah.
When you crack hydrogen, it
So you
creates
can so I could get
water.
water out of the gas. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, and then water's not scarce at all.
yeah. You might want to bump that up to like 90%.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I was saying, Jupiter's so massive. Even at a 10%, that's more than like the entire solar system.
Yeah.
You know, uh, a side aspect of
There's a lot of ice in the belt, bro.
From what TCG seemed to describe, it seems to have been compressed a little bit, or at least stripped away, so it's at a smaller size, perhaps.
Yeah.
That's I don't want to put words in your mouth, TCG.
Well, no. Well, the idea is the either they were mined away. I think you know what. Let me do this so it also can be lightly more gravity based, because in the gravity, Jupiter
Oh,
will
yeah.
probably crush a human, even if so the atmosphere wasn't compressed. It has been X amount of it
Stripped.
has been siphoned away for mining, and now there is a smaller Jupiter. But the breathable atmosphere is Jupiter's original size.
Mm-hmm.
a side asterisk also to the hydrographics. We're going to put in the world temperature from
Yeah.
frozen to boiling.
So the world that you're thinking of is kind of like that the sky world that you had been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
So put that in hydrographics. Don't put it in some or
Yeah, you just just give the temperature, whether you want to use Fahrenheit or Celsius, whatever works for you.
but under the same category as hydrographic. Don't create temperature as a separate.
Let's see here. Temperature.
I'm going to write that over here.
Yeah. I'm going to say that the terraformers, I'm pretty sure they have to keep kept fed, like kept going,
Wait,
also help regulate the temperature of the planet by greenhouse gases. I did air quotations because I have no better way of saying that.
we must have missed that part, but we appreciate the explanation. Without a camera, air quotes don't really show up.
Yeah, I would turn on my camera, but when I'm painting, I have a headlamp on. So it's just, I am bright Cyclops.
Minus 200
No.
Fahrenheit.
Okay, so freezing, sub-zero.
But is that one of
I'll be
the?
right back.
Let's see here. So, at least on the surface, inside it's hot.
Yeah, you can also do a slash to denote that, because that's going to be a common theme, I think, throughout all of space exploration. A lot of planets are going to have things on the surface and then things below the surface, and that's one thing I think Traveler just didn't think about for whatever reason. The next line item is the population, from 0 to 100,000 million billion up to a trillion. Trillion is at a 12. 0 is obviously is none. Just you use the word. Don't you can use the number, but you know whether it's millions, billions, trillions, what have you, or even if it's less than tens of thousands.
Just humans or all, either or both?
Life forms.
Okay.
I should say
Sentient life forms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So people.
yeah, people. Because if there are animals they would number, 10 to hundreds to one to the intelligent, sentient beings, unless they're vegetarians, in which case, uh, it's really not going to matter. Which is something, again, they should have, kind of went over that, because how many critters are there per, let's just, for lack of, for brevity's sake, for every human, how many critters do you need? I mean, we can't even calculate that here on Earth, because at some point, you could easily depopulate the animal species because they got all eaten. Unless you keep up with that. And I could picture on some alien worlds that, the intelligent species wasn't intelligent enough to figure that out, and now they are, cannibals or something, or now they're all vegetarians because they ate all the animals without thinking, hey, maybe we should start corralling them and raising them, and kind of monitoring what we eat.
So 10 to the 6, that's millions.
Pardon?
10 to the 6th power, that's millions.
I don't know. Powers were never my strong suit.
It's all right. Let's see, 10 to the 0.
It's funny because I literally went to school with this kid, uh, who in first, I want to say first grade, was trying to explain that to me. I kid you not. He's a big brain kid, who unfortunately, met a terrible fate, um, because he was just so overly intelligent that nobody could deal with him. It was really
Yeah.
strange growing up knowing this kid. Um,
All right. I think it's.
but yeah, I in Crafting's case, I could easily see, it going into, or beyond trillions, but
Yeah.
that kind of math.
And a small place like the moon or something, it could be really dense, but not as much numbers.
Right.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna just hundreds of millions, and since it's a small place like Io,
Okay.
and that'll probably
Uh,
also include space
just for the
stations. and all
record,
of that.
George, that's an 8
8.
in hundreds of millions.
Okay. What's the temperature? No, like what is? Because I don't see it on my chart. Maybe I got an old one or something.
Due to
Uh,
the way my civilization has laid out its structure, I did math. I'm roughly estimated at 400 million.
nice.
Hmm.
Uh,
Uh, George, for the temperature, uh, just write down the degrees, and I'll get with you, because the numbers, go from 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, or 12. Frozen, cold, temperate, hot, and boiling.
do you
It's
want me
Okay.
to force that number down?
No, no,
Okay.
not at all. It's not like, it's a war game situation where, like, oh well, fine, I want trillions so I can beat you guys. It's not like that. If
Yeah.
if for story's sake it makes sense to have trillions of people, cool.
Mhm.
We're only going to be dealing with a couple of individuals at a time, so it really doesn't matter. Now, coming from a society of trillions, that might make you that might make the population have traits that we are unfamiliar with. It's
No,
like,
there's a lot of living space. I
well,
could have easily quadrupled that number.
for crafting's sake, I could
Yeah.
see, like, if there are trillions of inhabitants, they may all, shower together regularly, on a treadmill kind of system. You know what I mean, or something. Or
I
other things.
watched that episode of Star Trek.
Like that episode of Star Trek, where they made the fake Enterprise and the people were all squished up against the windows. You could literally have something like that, or even in TCG's case, where sure we have trillions of people, but you got to travel 100 miles to see another one.
Mhm.
Because it's so big.
It's an Aguarian, and I don't see that civilization being very old. I don't know, TCG. Do you see that civilization being very old? If he's even there. Okay,
We'll come back to it.
we'll move right along.
The next one is government, and while they do have a 0 to 15 scale, I'm just going to read off the different types of government for folks out there. I'll go slow so that you can pick one, whichever one sounds like what you want. Zero being none. There's no government structure. In many cases, family bonds predominate. Examples: family, clan, anarchy. One is the company or corporate society. Ruling functions are assumed by a company managerial elite, and most citizenry are company employees or dependents or property. Corporate outpost, asteroid mine, feudal domain, things like that. Number two is participating democracy. Ruling factions are reached. Ruling functions are reached by the advice and consent of the citizenry directly. Still, collective tribal council, comlink consensus, things like that. Number three is a self-perpetuating oligarchy. Ruling functions are performed by restricted minority with little or no input from the mass of citizenry. Examples are plutocracy, hereditary ruling caste.
Thinking that's going to be mine because it's they're like a hive type people. So
Okay. Representative democracy. Ruling functions are performed by elected representative. Uh, kind of like what we have here. Number five is a feudal technocracy. Ruling functions are performed by specific individuals for persons who agree to be ruled by them. Relationships are based on the performance of technical activities which are mutually beneficial. Examples: those with access to higher technology tend to have a higher social status.
Mm-hmm.
Number six is a captive government. Ruling functions are performed by an imposed leadership answerable to an outside group, a colony, or conquered area. Number
Mm-hmm.
seven is balkanization. No central authority exists. Rival governments compete for control. Law level refers to the government nearest the starport.
Mm.
Number eight is a civil service bureaucracy. Ruling functions are performed by government agencies employing individuals selected for their expertise. Examples are technocracy and communism.
Mm-hmm.
Number
that's what I
nine
got.
is an impersonal bureaucracy. Ruling functions are performed by agencies which have become insulated from governed citizens. Example,
That's what you have.
Oh, yeah.
That's more like what you have.
I understand. Examples are entrenched castes of bureaucrats, a decaying empire. Uh, Number 10, which is what Jackie wants, is a charismatic dictator. Ruling functions are performed by agencies directed by a single leader who enjoys overwhelming confidence of the citizen, as in that's what he wants to be. Um,
So authoritarian dictatorship.
we can go with that. Uh, the next one is 11B, 11, excuse me, 11. In Traveler, everything is numbers go 1 to 9, but then 10 becomes an A, 11 becomes a B, so that you can have single digits in the profile. It's just
I'm just writing down what they are. You can number
yes,
them
yeah.
later. It's
Numbers
it's
are
in that it's in that document
the,
that
the numbers are for this situation really irrelevant. They're really
okay.
more of a helpful tool for the GM so that he can read the the planetary character sheet and read the profile as single digit numbers, and they're the number in the specific order. You're supposed to memorize that the first number is this, the last number is that. Just so you can.
Yeah.
Only
Brain tricks.
yeah, yeah. We left off at 11.
11B.
Right.
Non-charismatic leader, a previously charismatic dictator, has been replaced by a leader through normal channels, military dictatorship, hereditary kingship, etc. 12 is charismatic oligarchy. Ruling functions are performed by a select group of members of an organization or class which enjoys overwhelming confidence of the citizenry. Examples: junta, revolutionary council. 13 is a religious dictatorship. Ruling functions are performed by a religious organization without regard to specific individual needs of the citizenry. Examples: cult, transcendent philosophy, psionic group, mind. Uh,
Oh, I'm tempted. I'm tempted.
okay.
Tempted with the Sonic
14
group.
is a religious autocracy, government by a single religious leader having absolute power over the citizenry. Example: Messiah.
Don't badmouth Paul. Paul didn't do nothing wrong.
That's it's one of my favorites, as everybody knows. Uh, and then 15, last one, totalitarian oligarch, government by an all-powerful minority which maintains absolute control through widespread coercion and oppression. Second
Okay,
favorite
so
choice.
that's the one I'm going with.
World Church, ruthless corporation. Um, now,
What was the exact term used? Authoritarian oligarch?
the totalitarian.
Okay.
Now, one of the side columns is common contraband, which we'll get into later on down the line. But each one has like some examples of things that would be illegal on that planet. Um, that's up to you guys to decide because as we get go through the government, um, you're making up your own. Uh, how it's ruled, and there can be all kinds of arbitrary legalities, depending on the very specific circumstances. On certain planets, you know, uh, high tech weapons might be illegal. Other places, you can't live without them. If there's sandworms, then outlawing, plasma cannons might be dumb. You know,
Yeah.
Well, no, the plasma cannon
Well,
attracts the sandworm. You don't want the.
or whatever it is you use to blow the sandworms to smithereens.
yeah.
You don't blow
I'd
the
have to,
sandworms to smithereens. They're your fuel.
the
Go,
spice must
yeah,
flow.
exactly.
Right,
But
but that's assuming that your giant sandworms don't produce spice. If they don't produce spice, then they're just a nuisance, or maybe
yeah,
not.
What's
but
this heresy
Is,
saying sandworms
is
don't?
there any psionics in the game?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
So that could
but
be, in some places that's illegal. That's a common thread throughout Traveler. Some places it's highly illegal. Other places you might go and it's like a planet out of Star Trek where everybody has them.
well, on my planet, I'd have to say the government is the starport government. Jupiter is so big, like all the major cities have a starport, but pretty much everything in between them is, well, you better have a big gun.
One of the things in that comes after it, it's kind of a side thing. I just found interesting. It's called cultural differences, and if you want to, if you have different cultures within the single planet, uh, you can detail that out. But I just happened upon one. It was called unusual customs, sex. The culture has an unusual attitude toward intercourse and reproduction. Perhaps cloning is used instead of sex, or sex is used to seal commercial deals.
That was actually used in some ancient cultures.
I just like That just
Yeah,
seems
it was
so
called Marriage of Your Children.
right.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
you know. Here's another one, another unusual custom: technology. The culture interacts with technology in an unusual way. Telecommunications might be banned. Robots might have civil rights, or cyborgs might be property. If you have any weird cultural stuff, feel free to note that. The next one is one of many players' favorites or least favorite thing. That's called law level. This would include things like banned goods, things that are completely illegal to import, own, or export. Um,
Read the chat, Shadow.
all of you unclean things. Yes, exactly. Uh, uh, Examples: technology. A government that bans technology seeks to shield its citizens from the influence of advanced technology. Or travelers. A ban on travelers restricts the ability of outsiders to visit the world, confining them to the starport or forbidding them landing entirely. Psionics. Restrictions on psionics are common on most worlds. Ban psionics is a matter of course. On other worlds, psionics may be technically legal, but there is such uh, prejudice against it that most psionic users hide their abilities, or everybody on the planet just happens to be psionic, and going there could be detrimental if you aren't a psionic. You could be like giving up state secrets if you're an ambassador, or things like that. Those are some examples. And the law levels go start out at 0. There are no restrictions. There are no laws. Uh, uh, Heavy armor and handy weapons are recommended, like I was saying, all the way up to at 9 or higher. All weapons are banned and all armor is banned.
Hey, it's my friend Felix. How are you, Felix? Long time
Uh,
no see.
and then it gets into the like nitty gritty nitpicking. At 0, no weapons are restricted, but at 1, poison gas, explosives, undetectable weapons, weapons of mass destruction, uh, things like that, all the way down to getting to more nittier. Pistols are illegal, and everything above as well. Some places you can openly wear blade weapons. That's fine, but anything else, no go. To no weapons whatsoever. Um, and it mostly deals with just weapons when it's talking about the law level, because the individual. Hey Justin, good night, Justin.
Oh, he's a good night.
What's up, Felix? Long time no see. Uh, because all the other things are kind of a case by case basis. What every world's going to have very different laws when it comes to everything else, but the basic killing and fighting kind of thing is you kind of need to know before you even set foot on the place. It's like, hey, should I have brought some armor or weapons, or is it just going to be cool to walk down the street and nobody's going to bother you, uh, and you're safe as houses to you know Nice, Justin. So whatever your idea of how strict things are, just you can either go with
Did
the
you go
number.
through every number? I thouh you skipped. You just.
No, I didn't go through every number because it's like, okay, one is I'm just going to say what's banned. Battle dress, which is like damn near Iron Man armor. Poison gas, explosive, weapons of mass destruction. 2 would be portable energy and laser weapons. 3 would be military weapons. 4 would be light assault weapons and submachine guns.
Yeah.
5 is personal concealable weapons. 6 is all firearms except shotguns, stunners. Carrying weapons is discouraged. 7, everything except shotguns and blades would be banned. 8, all bladed weapons and stunners, which means everything, pretty much everything, except you know, I don't know why there's a difference
Brass
between
knuckles.
yeah, and then 9 is literally all weapons and all armor. You don't want to live on a
Yeah.
place like that because
Mm.
then you have to be
Oh,
a martial artist and can't be a lazy bastard and just shoot the some bitch.
one thing I would tell people to consider is it might not necessarily be a very oppressive society, but it might be just they're on a can in space, and you don't want people shooting guns, poking holes in things.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. The same thing on a ship. That's why in Traveler blades are a big thing. Boarding actions are often done with blades. They bust through the door and then they just stab everybody, or they use shotguns because they're not going to breach a bulkhead, depressurize the whole ship, and there went your whole ship. Um, Raven, why aren't you in here? This is fun.
What was this
Probably
category
boring as
called
hell
again?
to you. What?
What was this category called again?
Law level.
Low level.
Now, I didn't really hear any law levels where they allowed both like allow you to carry weapons and have high law. Because that would be kind of my world, because you never know when the cities could be attacked from raiders, because the planet is more than big enough to house huge troops of
Right. You
raiders.
you could you just text it out. You don't need the numbers. I'm just
Okay,
because
fair.
I really don't want to get hung up on the number because I'm not going to go look in the book and go, huh, what's that? No, it's like it's a role playing game where we're talking in text, not numbers.
Oh, okay.
Going into that's like too game mechanicy, you know, um, because like for example, if you're in a ship and you're coming to a world and you hook up with their cortex or their internet, it might say law level and give you a number, but in reality, it's probably going to say what's restricted. This is what's illegal on our planet that you might not be familiar with because killing, on most planets is probably one of the biggies, probably usually at the top of the list, unless it's got some weird religious thing where, peeing outdoors is the ultimate crime, So you would literally, you would read it in a text form, not just going, oh, it's law level 6, huh? You know what I mean? Not everybody would know that. It's just
Yeah.
like, the average person doesn't know whether this crime is a felony or a misdemeanor. They just know they probably shouldn't do it. And then it goes into, the crime and punishment, assault, destruction of property, murder, the sentencing and things like that. You guys don't need to know that. Just, what's illegal, you know what's okay. It's probably easier to just write what's illegal, what the big crimes are, if it's different than like our earthly standards. If something's like a big taboo, maybe note it down. But you can just start with what weapons. Like if you say shotguns, that means everything above shotguns is illegal. If you say you know none, or something like that, we can figure it out. It, I can't imagine that there are really like planets out there where you walk out with your 6 guns on your waist, and they don't go hand them over. They're going to be like, no, don't bring your guns here. You know what I mean? Just because we're unless it's like a really frontier world kind of thing. If you walk through the freaking customs, they're going to be saying, yeah, put that back on your ship, right? Yeah, I mean, there's no countries that you can walk into, get on an airplane with your shotgun over your shoulder, and you know what I mean, and just walk through customs, and they're like, hey, how's it going? Are you muted, Justin, or just okay?
Constitutional carry on my space station.
Cool. But what can you carry? I mean, if someone brings in a Veron T disruptor, is that going to set off alarms, or you know
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I am going to assume there are energy weapons, because it's not science fiction to me if you can't have a blaster. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it why, even in the future, a 357 or something like that would still be an effective weapon. But as soon as they start making laser pistols, I'm going to get like 6. You know what I mean? Just because that just sounds like fun. You know,
You're going to be like
it's,
Homer and buy the first one off the line, not wait until they get perfected.
I could be
to,
that
to,
guy.
to, to, to walk around your house at the bottom of the lake.
I recently read or heard, I don't remember which, that like flamethrowers are like legal in most states.
Yep.
How insane is that?
Yes, they are because they're commonly used for brush burning.
I totally get that, but how come? How come we've literally never had a news report of some dude going off with a flamethrower?
Uh,
Well, a couple of reasons, because it's a dumb weapon to use in anything other than a clearing of caves and things
I'm
like that.
just saying. I'm just saying. If the next school shooter uses a flamethrower, it's your fault.
He's asking to get freaking riddled. They have a mediocre at best range. You know, it's a weapon of fear and terror versus an actual effective weapon.
I'm not saying it's his
This
primary weapon.
this is
Oh,
my
Out in the open,
this is my character.
flamethrower usually has a range of 30 feet.
Uh, it- oh
Oh,
no,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
it's
See, moving
backwards.
is making it hard. Okay, all right, I got you. Did you draw that?
No, no, I found that online years ago.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay. I was
I
gonna
used
say,
it
dang,
for
dude, you
it
have
was
to
the
split your work.
it was the NPC for my traveler game with the family, and I figured nobody picked stewardship, so I made this character to run the run the ship.
The grill master.
Yeah,
Sorry, Meister.
then he has little flamethrowers to light the burners, and
The Xenos scum. Oh, yeah.
Okay, the
Plasma
believe it or not,
pistol.
more or less the last and final one is the starport. There could be multiple, but um, these are the types. Uh, A for excellent, so it's got like all the accommodations you could possibly want, the highest tech, you know, within the limits of the game. Let's say, you know. Oh, we
Doesn't
didn't do.
matter the level. Sorry, it doesn't matter the number on their sheet. I guarantee you can find all of them on somewhere on Jupiter.
Okay, well, because it's like excellent, good, routine, poor, frontier, and none. So
I got
everything but none, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah. I'm gonna
because
put
give you some examples. An excellent has a shipyard and repair facilities, a naval
Starport.
base, military research facilities, etc. A good would be very similar, just a little jump down. Routine is middle of the
Excellent.
road. Still can repair small craft, things like that. Might have a military base, might not. Versus poor, best you're going to find is unrefined fuel, very limited repair facilities. Frontier is, uh, it's basically a parking lot. You can land, and that's it. And you can pretty much
You said
find one
excellent was the
anywhere.
best, right?
What?
Excellent was the best.
Yeah, A, B, C, D, E, and X. But yeah, just if you want excellent, you write excellent. We don't need the numbers or the letters, uh, because when you're looking it up, you're not going to go, oh, great, it's got a starport class A, or maybe you might if you're really into the jargon, but you're like, hey, it's got an excellent starbase. Everybody
I,
in the room knows what you mean.
I just assume that's their computer's like rating system.
Mm-hmm.
Like is their standard is like what's that not the Michelin's 3-star guide or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Mm-hmm. That's actually a good point. That they should have done a little more in things like that because
world building.
because
Yeah.
it is like like landing at the airport. If it's a crappy little airport, BFE, Bumfuck Egypt, you know, you're like, oh crap, I got to lay over here. Versus, oh, you know, whatever, pick your favorite, airport, big, fancy, you can get drunk all day, waiting for your next, flight to arrive kind of thing. Gift shops and massages and get your nails done and all that crap. Versus, there's a bedrock and a hot dog stand. You know,
Ooh, hot dog
right?
stand.
I know we get these great big uh, beef franks from Sam's Club.
Mm.
Little story. Uh, Jackie's mom went to Sam's Club a long time ago, and I don't know if I was there or not. I don't remember. And we saw this bag on the ground, right? And it had fallen out of somebody's cart. Why it was on the bottom of the cart, I don't know. But it had like 3 or 4 packages of bacon and these
Yeah.
hot dogs, right? And
Yeah.
uh, took them. I don't know if I kind of remember being there, but I kind of don't. But because I want to say I remember them being still cold, so I'm like, score, like $30 worth of bacon and hot dogs, right? And then
And hot dog and Shadow ate them all in one sitting.
no, 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 no. I don't know if Alex is watching. He could
He
be.
never even left the parking lot.
I know better than to eat raw bacon. And
Oh, raw bacon is the best bacon.
Alex, Jackie's friend who was staying with us before they moved out of state, they came over for a barbecue, and we were all like digging these hot dogs. But I think it was Jackie, like uh, was talking to their family, and kept saying, "Oh, we found these at Sam's Club." Everybody was loving them. But we literally found them. And everybody was like, his mom and I were kind of giggling. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's not lying. We did find them, and we've been buying them ever since. But it was just
Yeah.
cute little thing that happened, and anytime you find 3 packages of bacon and 3 hot dogs, that's a good day in my book. I mean, bacon wrapped hot dogs. Anybody?
Yeah. I used to volunteer at the community center for their food bank,
Mm-hmm.
like packing up the boxes that they give out, uh, and eating a lot of chocolate because like a third of the stuff we get in was chocolate bars.
Nice.
But
Oh, you just reminded me. I got Klondike bars in the freezer.
oh,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Watch out for
Yep.
the polar bear.
I will be over there with my high powered rifle to shoot your ear off because that's what I do for a Klondike bar.
That's what you do for a Klondike bar. Yeah, Jackie had never had one before, and he's been kind of on this weird diet thing. But I got like the 6 pack, and my 3 were gone in 3 days. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Boom.
So they had they got in like this case full of hot dogs. They were like English hot dogs, like from England. England.
Okay.
They're imported. I was like, okay, whatever. I've been looking for them everywhere, man. They were like stadium dogs. They're like that size.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah, I made some last week, and I'm like, Jackie, chili dogs or regular dogs? And I'm like,
oh,
he's got to say
always
chili dog.
chili. Always chili. We had chili dogs last week too.
He said, no, just regular. And I'm like, you understand that when I make chili dogs, I make chili fries. He's like, I know, just
You
hot dogs. I'm like, what is
you
wrong
guys
with
you
you?
gotta send that kid back to Home Depot where you picked him up. Like fuck,
So
man.
I know. He's trying to lose weight because of a girl. He doesn't want to have a little belly. I'm like,
He's got to go to the gym for that. He's not fat. He's lacking definition.
mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
you're not going to lose that weight fasting. You're going to lose that weight doing 300 fucking curls and some jumping
Well,
jacks.
he can knock out the push-ups and sit-ups,
Yeah.
but he
Well,
needs
he
it.
needs to plank then.
Yeah.
Planking. No, you don't. You have no idea what an
No,
exercise is,
no.
do you? No,
Planking
you
has
do
always
like a
sounded like
push
that's
up, but
a porn reference to me.
you get to that push up position, but instead of going up and down, you just like lay with your arms like this
Oh,
for the time, and you have to remain tense, and it forces things. You do
uh,
that as
kind of
like
like isometrics,
yeah, it's one of those
which
things you got to
which
do.
is what Charles Atlas did. That's how he got all big. He didn't use weights. He would just
Yeah,
like push against his own body and
yeah,
pull and things like that, just by tensing his muscles.
yeah.
You could literally start with nothing and look like Charles Atlas without ever lifting a weight,
Now,
which is weird because they should still teach that because it does work
well,
to an extent.
they do.
Well, no,
Planet
I mean in
Fitness
school.
does.
I mean in school.
No, because that would make you healthy, and that would be a positive thing.
Right.
They
So
finally gotten off this holistic reading thing in higher basic education, which is like put the kid in a room with a book and they'll learn how to read, which started in the '60s. It's why levels of reading have gone down since then. And
I
just
must have gotten real
Reading is
lucky.
not a natural part of human.
yeah, learning. Yeah, you actually have to
No.
teach it. You can't just.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
So
you-
the last category is tech level, and it goes from 0 to 15, and what that means is, in this context, uh, the specific numbers. It's very game mechanic. We don't need to use that for this. Is it high tech? Is it low tech? Is it no tech? You know, if you want to give some examples of some of its high tech or low tech, you know, solutions to problems. Obviously, we're at the space travel point. Where which puts it in the 7, 8, 9 mid range. You got to have that.
what's Earth at on that
Uh,
scale?
like right now, I think it's at a 7 or an 8.
Like in real life,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
okay, and in the game, what's going to be at?
Uh, a bit high. I mean, it theoretically, because we're dealing with Earth-based humans as the predominant culture, and technological developers, that's going to be the highest.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Uh,
I want to put mine just a little bit past Earth because we're working from that alien technology that Earth
right,
doesn't
which
have,
is
right?
fine.
So
Or jump drives a thing, or
Well, they are, but they're theoretically unnecessary for not necessarily per. I'll address this after I answer this question. Um, for the most part, I don't see the players going outside of Pluto. Okay, so
okay,
traditional, high speed is the thing, because you're probably not going to be able to jump because you need a star as a focal point to.
Omanau had that one world that was like he was Proxima or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. Um,
Yeah.
it's like where you need a jump gate or something like that.
hmm
Jumping from Earth to Pluto is probably unnecessary because they can just get there in a couple of weeks. Type of idea.
So
Uh,
faster than light travel will still be a thing
yes,
because
but you're probably going to be using it to leave the solar system to go to another star. And while I
no,
do
even to get to Pluto in a couple of weeks, it's like 6 months from Earth to Mars one way.
right at our current understanding of technology, if
hmm
there are faster engines or something like that, I don't. I'm gonna have to look into it. But you can go to other planets, or say other star systems. But things like transporters, those are kind of like, in my opinion, like crazy tech.
Mm.
Because what it
yeah.
would take to really do that, even though The Fly was trying to do that in the movie The Fly, the idea that you could do that just seems like crazy. Tractor beams, maybe not so much. Um,
That's just if we have artificial gravity, that's just like a export of
Offshoot of
that
that
tech.
technology.
Yeah.
So, real quick, what we're doing is we're redesigning the planets in our solar system for a traveler game that will be set about 400 years in Earth's current future, so that I'm showing each of the players and giving them the opportunity to help me develop the different planets in the Earth solar system, so that when I run them through it, they'll have some inside information on the planets, and how they look and feel. But subtle things I'm going to take over because I'll be running the game. But they'll be like, oh, okay, I kind of you know this is familiar because Justin and George and Crafting and Doc and Raven helped develop the worlds, and then I'll take them over and add stuff in it so they don't like think they own the place because they know where every secret door is, so to speak. It's just a thing I've noticed that a lot of DMs are including the players in developing of the game world, and I thought this would be a fun experiment uh, before I actually run uh, a Traveler game.
Mhm.
So under the tech level, just right, high, low, medium, crazy tech, whatever. It doesn't matter. Uh, I don't care, uh, but maybe give some
Hi.
examples of something that they have that maybe nobody else has, whether it's an actual technology or a restriction, even. If for some reason, the internet is banned, okay, let me know. I don't know when it's going to happen. Definitely next year, because I find that we might be done with the other things we're going to work on later. Because next we're going to work on literally technological advancements that have occurred throughout this game world. Things that don't exist now, but will have come to pass in the next 400 years. Like each player is going to pick one technology to be, to integrate into everybody else's world, more or less, unless they say no, it's only on
Mhm.
Mars. Okay, and I don't want anybody to say what it is until they reveal it, so that
What the advanced technology that we think nobody else has?
not that nobody else has, but that this universe has in general. If you want it to be specific to your world, that's perfectly fine. George, for example, because of the alien world that he's working on, or you, or crafting, you know, because both George and Justin have ancient societies there, um, that maybe there's something they developed that nobody else did. And even if they
Mhm.
did, if they have any dealings with humans, you can guarantee humans tried to steal or borrow or copy. Uh,
Well, technically, my people are human, but
but
you
right,
know,
if you let Chinese people land on it, it's going to happen.
yeah,
Or anybody else. I was just,
they'll try and trade it for rice.
well, no, China's got this reputation for borrowing
Well,
other people's technology.
they have less rigid in copyright protections than we
Right,
do.
right,
Their concerns are not the same as ours.
which is fine. I mean, humans in
Ours are a
general, I
little
think,
absurd. But
if humans ever went to another planet and that planet had other technology, every
we'd
last
be
one of us would want to.
doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's not a. Um, hey, I don't know where Raven is. I thought she was gonna come hang out with us tonight. Um, yes, exactly. Per. What's up, nerdy? How you doing? Nice to see everybody playing along tonight. So just give me a couple of examples of like common sci-fi technological tropes, and then for next week, which is what we're going to start talking about now, because we got to the end of this uh, everything listed here. Think of something like your characters are all weirdos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the aliens that you came up with are weirdos. Think of something weird that maybe you've seen in one TV show or movie or another, or read about in a book, but isn't super common, or something you've always wanted to see. Like I always loved. It's a silly little gadget, but it was the whole premise of the movie Runaway with Gene Simmons and Tom Selleck, the pistols that fired those little rockets that would track your ass down. That's terrifying.
Tracking bullets.
We can do that now. We can literally do that now.
That's janky, but yeah.
I mean, well, what we know, but we know that behind the scenes,
Uh,
ooh, what a burger. What a bastard. Enjoy your burger. I could actually go for one. I had a light dinner tonight. For some reason, I just wasn't hungry. Now I'm starving. Um, but
yeah.
if
I regret eating that pizza.
if a corporation really wanted to get down
Oh,
and
I don't
dirty
think so.
and make that those tracking bullets, they exist. You know what I mean? And they would be
Yeah,
the
they're
way
like
better than they were in maybe maybe not. I mean, think of what you could put into a cell phone. You know what I mean? And if you
yeah,
take
but we're talking about the propulsion system and the thruster.
uh,
Like it's that small, you'd only be able to go a little bit, a couple of times. But
right, right,
you want anything that can actually, you might as well build a drone. Which
right.
reminds me,
Mhm. Yes, per the bullet with your name on it. Well put, well put. But I always thought that was just something you should see, like especially if you think about it on like a battlefield where it doesn't literally need to be your name on it. It's just target all humans, and just and uh, that would be devastating, but not really practical except in certain situations, on like mass trench type warfare, here on Earth kind of thing. It'd be pointless because one malfunction in the software and it's targeting your own people, which would be hysterical, but also jacked up if it's your side. But just think of something that whether it's robotics or androids or travel or food or whatever. If you can think of something that you want to add, whether it's to your world or an Earth technology or even some sort of ancient discovery, like with Justin, where they found technology of the ancients that does this or that, and they're trying to reverse engineer it and master it, kind of thing. Um,
Well,
and then after that, we're actually gonna once we've gotten into that sort of thinking process, the week or a week after, we're going to talk about different forms of space travel and how we want to run that. Whether we want to use jump gates, whether we want to use some sort of Star Trekian warp speed, or just an advancement in chemical fuels and things like that, or something hand wavy to allow you to go from planet to planet faster without having to jump, because that sounds kind of
I would like it
dangerous.
if the standard travel was, near conventional, like energy drives instead of chemical rockets. But it
Mhm.
see, I
takes
would
maybe a
love it to
week
be
or a
the
month.
improbability drive. Oh, sorry.
Uh, really zany. You want to turn into a cat chasing yarn in the middle of space?
And nerdy, it's funny you mentioned the little spider robots, because weren't there also little spider robots in Runaway? I seem to remember like an
There
elevator
were
scene.
remote control cars. They didn't have the tech for that kind of stuff. That movie was very cheap. I like the premise to that movie, but
Hmm.
like it needed a
What's
budget
up, off grid?
of tens of dollars more, and people that knew how to use it.
I'm really jealous, off grid, and I'm really surprised that Justin didn't go to go hang out with everybody at Claricon. I
I
one of
don't
these days.
like going outside.
I know, but
Don't forget, Justin may not be a vampire, but he has the same problem as a vampire. If he steps outside, he bursts into flames.
it's fair. Because I saw Sean was there, Bear was there, the old geek was there, some other folks I didn't recognize uh, in the live chat. Bill was there. A lot of great people I really want to meet in person one day, and a bunch of probably new people that I'm unfamiliar with that would be nice to get to game with. Although I gotta admit though, uh, it seems like it would be either like the best time or the worst time, because you got some of these people with like big brains and big egos, uh, yeah, all in the same freaking place. I can see like one little bad thing could like spiral out of control. You know what I mean? Not like you'd be getting into a
Yeah.
fist fight, at Father Aaron's place, but just like I could see it like either getting like a really awful heated, you know, argument, or it would just be like the best game ever with some of the coolest people ever, and I just feel me personally, I would be like so worried about it being bad that I would like not say anything. You know what I mean? Just like I you know I check for traps. Because of course I'm playing a thief. Um, but you know what I mean? I would be so worried that I would just do something dumb or jackassy. Uh,
Well, there's a guarantee you'll do that, but
right.
oh, jackassy.
You know what I mean? I know. Most of the guys there, I've known for a while, and getting to hang out with Sean would be just freaking great, and of course Dungeon Minister, top of the list for me. One of these days, I
I
definitely
don't. I don't know. I don't think I could trust a guy named Aaron.
you've met him. He's one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. Uh,
Uh, didn't say I could trust him though.
and he's so cool. When I mean, think of all the the priests you might have met, if they came into one of our shows and heard the swearing, etc., they would just turn around and leave or start reprimanding us. And he's cool.
Uh,
Try to play it off like he uses colorful words when nobody's looking. I'm like,
colorful words like "gosh" or
and
"darn it."
yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I want to. A part of me wants to believe that when he's in the car alone, rocking out to some '80s band, and some jackass cuts him off, he's just like just a blue streak
Like,
because nobody's there. But at the same time,
damn your immortal soul to hell! Damn you!
I'm thinking way more colorful than that. But you know what I mean.
Well, he's wearing the cloth. He has to use the right swear
You
words.
blankety blankety blanket blankers, with no
And
blanks
that's
in that
why he
sentence.
was giving his last sermon in the pits of hell.
Yeah, he that was incredibly cool of him to come in for that.
Mm.
Uh, for Shauner's thing. Um,
Oh,
I know that while Shauner's family might have not appreciated or got our humor, I know that if they watched it to the end, they had to realize that, maybe they're not as Irish as I am, but I know that awake isn't where you're kissing the guy's ass. You know what I mean? You might do
yeah.
that afterward, or at the end, but the whole time you're ripping him a new one because that's how we celebrate people. Um, Raven, we'll throw out some positive thoughts that you're
Vibes.
that yeah, I don't like that word. Um,
That's why we're using it now. It's official vibes.
Yeah, I know. Just get in here, Raven. It's almost closing time. Um,
Closing
I
time.
was just thinking the
One
same
last
fucking
call.
thing.
Bound to
I,
hold.
yeah. Yes, exactly. Off grid. Although I don't drink, had I been in person with everybody and we were doing this, I probably would have. Just saying. Just because Shauna couldn't, and I know. Uh, did I miss something?
Mm.
Oh, Grumpy
Every
was
time.
there.
I'm sorry.
I don't know Red Caps. He was one of the people. I was watching Bill's live stream earlier, and of course I came in just like Raven, last 5 minutes, um, and I'm gonna go and watch the rest of this stuff. Blue blocking, super orange, LED lights. Hey, does anybody know about those blue blockers? For computers, do they help with um, the supposed negative effects of being in front of a computer screen all day? because I am literally in front of a computer screen almost all damn day, one way or
I I don't think that stuff's real. You have to look into it. Do a Google search.
right off grid.
And then
Yeah,
don't believe
just
anything that you read.
Yeah.
go ahead, crafting.
You said don't believe everything you read.
Well, it wasn't read; it's watch. I've seen a lot of people talk about them, and I do notice some things because I was talking to Raven about it the other day. I'm literally like in this freaking this 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 dome or web of 5 and 4G devices all times. Uh,
That's healthy for you. For
First
you,
says yes, blue
definitely.
blocking helps. So does having certain physical eye related habits that I practice. Oh, okay, okay. Because uh, getting some headaches more often and some other things. Uh, and the only thing that makes sense is that I've always got like a device on, and I have so many because I've got 2 phones, 2 tablets, and a laptop, and at least one of them's always on. Sometimes 2 of them are on, and if I'm on the phone, that could be 3. And I'm like kind of like in this like invisible, like triad of freaking internet signals. Maybe I just need a whole suit, huh? Like get a blue suit, so the space lasers won't get me.
Yeah. I'll just start doing this all the time.
You know what that reminds me? I saw this video. I didn't know it was a thing. You remember the robot, the dance?
Oh yeah. Can we forget it though?
Well, I saw a recent version of it because back in I'm going to say the 70s, that was actually a thing.
Yep.
Because my mom would take me to these CB radio breaks where the Channel 9 operatives would get together and just pat each other on the back and hand out awards and raffles. And, it was the era of disco. So there'd be, it was at a bar, so people would be dancing. And this one kid would always win the dance contest because he would do that freaking robot goofy shit. But I saw um, some Japanese kids doing it, um, but I swear to God, they looked way more real than they did back in the 70s. Like, because we've seen a lot of animatronics and stuff at
I'll be
Disneyland,
right back.
the waves and stuff. And I'm just like, they got like this subliminal sort of moves, if you will, of being able to do it to where it's like if I didn't know better, I would totally believe that that was just an animatronic person. A couple of guys, couple of girls doing these, just not really dance moves, but just like but turning, regular waving and goofy movements. I'm just like, man, that's creepy, but at the same time really endearing, because they're trying to be like Japanese animation type characters, but like if you were on, a Japanese version of Disneyland, Small World, and you see all the animatronics waving, but they're actually it's cheaper to have real people pretend to be robots kind of thing. It was just really weird. Anybody seen that? Just me, huh? Okay, that's fair. Or everybody's muted and going, "You freaking weeb, weeboo, or whatever it's called." I don't know. See, that's how old I am.
Right, I forgot I was muted,
Okay,
which is
what am I
good too
missing?
because I just sounded drunk.
Yeah, Per, are you on my Discord? Absolutely. Because I'm noticing some physical things that aren't like normal old agey things, uh, unless I have a tumor.
Not the tumor.
It's not a tumor. You got to do Arnold like almost like you've got freaking a bunch of snot stuck in your nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then you gotta stick a pair of like 3-prong forceps up there and pull it out,
Right.
and it's all glowing red.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was sick a couple of weeks ago, I sneezed and like a thing came out of my nose that size, and it was solid.
Awesome. Yeah,
It was disgusting. It
the people pretending to be robots.
was like a fucking grape.
Hydrating is not a problem. I only drink water, and I drink probably at least 10 of these a day. Um,
It's probably too much, man.
yeah, it probably is.
I drink
And
just
I
about
don't
as
count.
much,
I
so
don't count. It could literally be six. And I do use eye drops from time to time. Um, but one of the good things is like while my devices may be on, 75% of the time I'm not actually looking at them. It's just that they're on. Like I'll have you know uh, listening to a show instead of watching a show because most of the stuff I bring up on YouTube I don't need to actually watch it, which is kind of funny. How many talking head shows folks listen to or watch these days versus in the old days it was just the news, you know, news at 5 or whatever, and then you're done, and then you're actually watching something where it makes sense to pay attention to what's on the screen. I need to start actually just doing more music.
Yeah. So,
it's pronounced Muzak. Get it right.
No. I mean, real, quality stuff.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I listen to Bat Out of Hell at least once a week now. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
How
Yeah.
great
Meatloaf
song.
is. I always
it was
one
a
of
tour de
the.
force. I actually looked up the album. It was like in the top 10 in the UK for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaking amazing. And then it you
I,
know,
I I really wish he had been able to restrain himself with his other albums because like that's the thing about his other music is that it's more gross out,
mhm. kind of
uh,
like kind of
perverted than like youthful angst.
like
Uh,
you guys all remember Nina Hagen from 99 Lift Balloons, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Song's beautiful, right?
would smash every day of the week.
And yet, if you look at anything else she did, it was exactly like Justin's talking about. Just this girl just screaming in German, just like it was just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it can't be the same person. It cannot be the same person. And why did you go that route instead of that route? It's like what happened to Rick Springfield, you know.
Oh, have you seen Rick Springfield in his modern?
Mm, I don't
Okay,
want to.
remember what was that country singer? His daughter is that degenerate piece of shit. That Miley Cyrus.
Oh, Billy
Cyrus.
Ray.
You remember Billy Ray's venture into darker, grittier alternative rock? He had like
Mm-mm,
a different name with black hair. No,
mm-mm.
okay, so that reference doesn't work then. Well, he did in the early 2000s like an alternative, like toolish kind of thing. Not that bad, but
Kind of like
what?
Donny Osmond going to play metal, but
Yes.
a different genre switch
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Is it? I don't get it. I mean, I kind of get it. You get kind of tired of doing the same stuff.
Well,
You want to branch out.
he started as like a hippy dippy sort of guy, and then like his third album transitioned into pop rock, and then like 30 years after that, the early mid 2000s, he went to like soft metal or something like grunge, somewhere in between there. Their
Specifically,
genres are
you're
a
talking
bit.
about
What?
who were you talking about specifically? Springfield.
Yeah, Rick Springfield. Like his first couple of albums are like closer to disco,
Yep.
and then he switched to like that the pop music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we
Jesse's
all
Girl,
know.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, we all know him from. But yeah, in the
I
two
saw a meme
thousands.
today saying Jesse's girl is Stacy's mom. Something.
I much prefer his song Bruce. I highly recommend you watch the music video or listen to the song Bruce. I don't think there was a video for it. The whole song is like him talking about people coming up to him and saying, "Hey, I remember you," or "Can I get your autograph, Bruce?" Thinking he's Bruce Springsteen instead of Jesse Springfield.
Yeah, boy, does that guy turned into a douche. Real quick,
Yeah, it's so bad. Like he's in the middle of having sex with his wife. His mom calls him on the phone.
real quick, I'm going to answer a question here. Uh, the song by Crosby, Stills and Nash, not bad. You know, it's one of those I believe '70s songs that is kind of cool. Kind of psychedelic-y, I guess. In a way. And the movie is kind of goofy, but I literally got to touch the model of the Dark Star spaceship
Oh, okay.
back in the late '70s, early '80s. I was at a Hollywood Model Builders Association meeting, and they had a bunch of models, from movies. Of course, they said, "Don't touch." I'm a 12-year-old kid. As soon as nobody's looking, boink. Had to. I mean, what you bring a 12-year-old kid to a thing like that? Mind you, I was the only one, and it was a Hollywood thing, and I made it out with all my parts unmolested. Um, it was really interesting because I hadn't seen the movie yet, but there were other models there as well, and I'm like, the Dark Star was kind of a cool looking ship, but it had a big "Don't Touch" sign on it, like you know
Yeah.
they really didn't need it, because I mean it was a bunch of grown-ups who probably like us would know better than to freaking touch a movie prop like that that's probably incredibly fragile and delicate, etc. But I was 12 or 11 or 14 or whatever. Damn well I'm gonna freaking touch that thing. um,
Um, in
Thanks.
the yeah, I couldn't stand that
I,
movie.
I am a really big fan of not so much '60s, but definitely like '70s, like soft rock, things like America and stuff like that. Despite loving metal, every once in a while, I do need to chill. I can't listen to Judas Priest and Iron Maiden all day long, and I do need a break from it. And I had, prior to getting into metal as a youngster, uh, being in the car with like my mom. Every time I was in the car with my mom, we would always hear "Life's Been Good to Me So Far" by Joe Walsh. Every single time. Growing up listening to the Eagles and a bunch of other, those one hit wonders bands, those classic iconic songs that most people, they know the song, but they couldn't tell you who it was by. I've lately like been getting into like trying to
I gotta re-download Don McLean. I like Don McLean.
Don McLean's American Pie was the very first song I
There
learned
is,
all the lyrics to. Go ahead,
sorry.
Crafton.
Oh, there is. You talk about music. There is an amazing, like, it's one of the only rap songs I actually like. That's because it's not about raping or killing. It is about, I grew up in a small town. I moved to the big city. Fuck, I miss the small town.
Uh,
I can't remember the name. I have to look it up.
but it's rap, so why would you listen to it?
Because
You
someone
sure you don't
happened to
work
be
like?
playing it when one of my friends was playing it when I was hanging out with them.
Sure, it wasn't John Mellencamp.
I don't know.
I believe
Hey,
in a small town.
John Cougar. Yeah, I used to really like his stuff in the beginning. The first song we all heard was "Hurt So Good" on MTV, and then Jack and Diane, etc. And then he just disappeared, and then he turned back up, and I can't stand him.
Yeah,
It's like just shut up
Just
and sing
shoot
and
me.
dance and leave your personal shit out of it, except in the songs.
Yeah.
No problem, Per. I really didn't realize I turned anybody onto anything like that, but I'll take credit. That's a good
What
song
did
by
he say?
America. But I actually like one of my absolute favorite is, of course, Sister Golden Hair. I don't know why. Not into blondes, but something about that song, the lyrics and the way they go together, so certain
Copperhead
word
Road's a good
choices.
song.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, what's his name that sings Copperhead Road? He's a fucking. He's a uh, dyed in the wool red uh, Marxist, but fucking great singer. Love everything the guy's done.
Really, and the other song I was going to say by America is "Be My Woman Tonight." The percussions in that song, even like the maracas and shit. I'm just like, oh my god! For a couple of down home American, goofy looking dudes. If you've ever seen them, the singers is blonde hair, big glasses, goofy. Not quite buck teeth, but really got that sort of hayseed look to them. The stuff they put out was just like
what group?
America.
America. Okay, okay. The band America.
Literally one of my all-time favorite bands, easy top 10 favorite bands.
Uh,
Mind you, they got a bunch of songs that suck or just don't grab me, but like all of their classics and some other choice ones are just like just
Per yes, Steve Earle. He is a member of the Socialist Workers Party or whatever of America, or one of those organizations. He is dyed in the wool red.
you know why I don't get it. I mean, if you want to be like not only
Listen
famous,
to his music. He doesn't shove it down your throat, man. Like
that's the way it should be. I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of bands out there that I don't care. I don't want to know. I
Mhm.
can kind of figure stuff out by listening to your lyrics.
Yeah,
At
like
least I could say that about Judas
some
Priest,
weird
but
some weird topics. Yeah, yeah, you didn't find out until you saw him sucking cock on stage, and you liked it. You pulled out your
That
camera.
was
It was your first porno.
they did a they did
no,
do a
no. But I did see them 2 nights in a row. Uh,
they did a movie with Mark
But
Mark
you didn't buy
Wahlberg
tickets at
that
the same
was.
time. You bought the tickets afterwards so you could see more, so you could practice your art form. You were saying,
Grid,
Oh,
like
they did a movie with
wavelength.
Mark Wahlberg, which was like kind of like loosely based on that story, but the music was so different, like very different. It felt more like Def Leppard, but you could
That's
see,
like
oh
my
yeah, this,
favorite band, dude.
yeah,
Talking Def Leppard, she'll get in here right quick.
yeah,
Uh,
uh,
Def
Surprised
Leppard.
she's not already in here.
what movie did they do with Marky Mark?
I forget the name of it, but it was basically like the Judas Priest story, where like there's a gay lead singer, and the band is kind of breaking up, and they get there's this guy who's like a real big fan or something, and they just somehow end up with him like literally like being the lead singer after the band after he leaves the band. The original lead singer left the band, and I think it's supposed to be kind of like the Ripper Owens story. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if that was actually what happened. Like it was he literally was just like a big fan of the band, and like he just came out there and met them, and then I think he had like a cover band or something for that, and then he ended up becoming the singer for the band.
off grid, I would so much prefer that the Trump would play that song instead of YMCA as the first song at the end of his rallies. I caught a rally video, just a couple of minutes of it, because it was in Philadelphia, and I was curious because that's like a big place, to win. And most of what I caught was the YMCA song, and I'm like sitting there going, this 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 song is just so wrong in a lot of ways, but back then it wasn't so much because it was actually, uh, you know, uh, Young Men's Christian Association or something like that. Um, which I'm like thinking, okay, but it didn't come across that way even back then. You know what I mean? And I'm just watching him do his, thing, and I'm just like, why this song? Seriously, I mean, I get it. I was, dancing and stuff during that era. I remember, but there's so many better songs, and that would be that one. We could do Magic is it. It's almost. It's like if you guys are you guys familiar with the song "Strange Magic" by ELO?
Uh,
Electric Light Orchestra.
I mean, the
no.
lyrics are literally like nothing. It's like nothing but the lyrics are literally strange magic over and freaking over and over and over and over. I mean, it's like all chorus. And I freaking despise that song, but I love that band, right? I'm sorry. Last comment from off grid. Yeah,
Now, if the
yeah,
band members look like Daisy Duke, it would not be Get. Just say.
and ELO is another one of those bands that, oh my God, just so many songs that are just freaking just next level. Almost, it's almost like a spiritual thing going on there. When Jackie was just a wee little tiny little boy, every day I had to rock him to sleep, and it was Mr. Blue Sky, and I'd rock him to sleep to that song, and 15 years later, it's on his playlist. So is Hotel California, which is really surprising, and Aerosmith's Dream On, which is another one of those songs. And I'm like, where did you pick this shit up? Because you know, I don't normally listen to that kind of music, but they're like a whole bunch of
It's
my favorite tunes. It's like, oh, all right, finally, some of that genetic memory is passed on from actually me and not his grandparents. You know?
it's the only music left in the world. Stuff boomers listen to. A lot of this generation, they either listen to rap or stuff from the 70s
Hmm.
or
And
80s.
it's actually Bruce, not Bruce, but okay, which is like
Uh,
greetings in German or something.
what?
That song, "Don't Let Me Down," and he says Bruce, but that's not actually what he says because that would
Oh,
be gay. Um, which is weird because I literally saw Jeff Lynne in his later days come out on stage in a freaking moo. You guys know what a moo is?
Yeah, like
yes. It's
if I had, it's what fat people used to wear before they actually had big and tall shops.
Yeah, it's I think it's a traditional like Hawaiian
Yeah,
outfit for women, but it's like it had the full print, weird, you know, designs and shit on it, not like abstract, but very, pattern, straight lines and stuff. And, I was just like, that cannot be him. That cannot be. Oh, yep, that's him. Which is funny because if you guys know anything about him, he looked. I could. We used to joke that he was actually in Blue Oyster Cult as well because Eric Bloom was another one of those guys with the white guy with the fro and sunglasses and a
mm,
beard. He never knew what his eyes looked like ever. And if you took two pictures of the two singers, Jeff Lynne and Eric
white
Bloom,
guy.
they're the same dude. Yeah, yeah, off grid.
Ugh.
And it's funny. Uh, I've only known two Bruces in my life. Bruce Lombardo and another guy I grew up with, and he liked the boys. Just saying, which is scary because he was like way older than us, but always hanging out with the teenagers in the neighborhood. Like
Groomer.
before there was such a thing. Although he couldn't groom his way out of a freaking public restroom. He's very awkward, dorky looking dude, but had that tone of voice.
Sure that wasn't an affectation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was very young, and then they moved off. His brother was cool as shit, though. But I don't think back then there was even there was barely a word for it. People just didn't. It just wasn't a thing. He was just he's just weird. You know, never did anything that I know of, but it's just weird because there was of course Bruce Springsteen and Bruce Dickinson, a couple of musicians that everybody I knew of, um, and it always seemed like kind of like a tough guy name,
Yeah.
which is funny because his actual nickname I think was Rocky, which is even weirder
Oh, you know,
because
you know who else was called Rocky?
who
The
Or
creature,
from
the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
oh yeah duh yeah
is in the title.
yeah no I should have known that my brain was going somewhere else because you said creature and I was thinking creature from Black Lagoon. What?
Wait, you're so familiar with Rocky Horror Picture Show, you would should have known that off the top of your head.
Shadow went and saw it like 3 times a day for 4 years.
Not quite that many times, but definitely twice a week for 2 years. Well, maybe not exactly because we did go and watch heavy metal, Wizards, Song Remains the Same, which I freaking God, I hate that movie. It's so
The
boring.
song that remains the same.
The Song
Never heard.
Remains the Same. It was the Led Zeppelin uh, live video album kind of thing. You know,
Okay, not interested.
yeah, a lot of my friends were big ass Zeppelin fans. Uh, you've never heard Mr. Blue Sky? Oh my God, that is it. You're welcome, Perk, because that's one of the all time greatest songs ever written. It's just it's got so much. They a lot of people used to call Jeff Lynne like the sixth Beatle because what he put out was in a lot of ways on par with or better than most Beatles music. Sorry, Beatles fans, but
No, the Beatles
prove me wrong.
suck.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. As a matter of fact,
The Kinks, far better group.
yeah, I will give it up to Paul McCartney. Uh, his wing, a couple of his Wings albums were also, especially Band on the Run. Oh my God, what a great album!
Hmm.
Awesome, Perk.
I
Awesome.
did not disagree with that. I just said
Yeah, yeah. No, there's a reason God let him live the longest. Just saying, because
actually I don't think any of them individually were all that bad. Some of them were a little misguided. I really wish what's his name didn't get shot because he was like in the process of recanting all of his political beliefs. But
that's good to know
um,
because even he had some great songs. Whatever gets you through the night, one of my favorite songs that he did. There's only like two or
yeah,
three that I really like, but I also liked Revolution Number Nine. That was a badass song. Uh, grungy and crunchy as hell. Had he gone on to do some more stuff like that. Um,
okay, off grid, bro. 90% of my hate for Led Zeppelin is that fucking song.
which one? Stairway?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a reason why it is banned
in all,
in all record stores.
you got to admit though, Immigrant Song, that's pretty badass.
It's a
That's
different
a
story.
that's a pretty badass song. The whole Physical Graffiti album, uh, awesome. Uh,
Yes, John Lennon. John Lennon was in the process of recanting
yeah.
his hippy dippy shit.
Okay, George, you take care, man. Good hanging out
Party
with you.
on, George.
We will see you probably Monday because I'm not doing squat tomorrow, but gaming all day. Can't wait. Arduin playtest. First thing I wake up, I have 15 minutes to get my S together and hang out in the world of Arduin, and then I will be transporting my players to the world of Arduin for a session or two. Yeah, Stairway Kashmir. There you go, Mini Warmud. Stairway to Heaven. here's the thing. I like the song, but there is such thing as too much of a good thing. You know,
Mhm.
the first 100 times I heard it, awesome. The second 100, I don't need to hear it again. You know,
Mhm.
um, I mean, we even did the backwards masking thing with it. Trying to play it backwards and hearing shit. Um,
What was the Deep Purple song that was also "Smoke on the Water"? It was
yeah,
also banned in a lot of. I like "Smoke on the Water." "Smoke on the Water," on the other hand,
Ramble
good
On's a good
song.
one too. Anytime you can throw hobbits and Gollum into a song,
Yeah.
why not?
And "Smoke on the
And
Water" is based on a true story.
yeah, yeah. Black Dog's good. Misty Mountain Hop. Uh, yeah, they had some good stuff, but it's like like I said, too much of a good thing. I had this one friend; it was his favorite band, and I ended up owning all.
Zeppelin.
Yeah, I ended up owning all of the cassettes because of him. Uh,
Why did he give them to you, or
I believe so. Over the years, I ended up with the entire collection, and then
I
someone stole it,
I
and I never looked back.
I know that the first Christmas after I finished my first book, that's what everyone's getting. It's probably how they're going to find out I wrote a book.
What Led
No,
Zeppelin 4?
no, a copy of the book. I'm just going to give them
Oh,
all
okay.
my favorite things. Favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I'm sure I'll tape a copy of Zeppelin tape.
Yeah, it was funny. I had them all in this one case that held exactly all of them. From one to I think it was Coda, which I never listened to. Um, uh,
Yes, my
the,
copy of Lost in Space, the 1996 movie, is also still in the shrink wrap.
like my favorite band, you guys all know, is Blue Oyster Cult. I don't listen to them every day. I don't even listen to them every month. There have been literally a couple of years where I didn't listen to them at all because I don't want to burn them out. You know what I mean?
There was a time when I listened to Meatloaf
Oh,
every fucking day.
Led
I had
Zeppelin.
it set up. I had it set up so when I walked in the door to this room, they would start playing.
Nice. I literally
Meatloaf. Sorry, my
I
fault.
had this 5 disc CD changer when they first came out, and I literally listened to Blue Oyster Cult's Imaginos every single day and like multiple times a day. It is in a freaking the studio version, the later version that came out. It's actually like the demo tapes and stuff of it. It's really really raw, but the studio version is just like this freaking masterpiece. In one song, they had like 20 some odd guitars, including Robbie Krieger and Joe Satriani, and just like a guitar symphony in this. I forget which song it is, but it was just so. Yeah, I literally heard that it was like the first CD ever made, but I don't believe that. But it was just you could almost call it overproduced because there was so much going on, but it was just mesmerizing. And now, like, uh,
I don't trust a person who doesn't like Veterans of a Psychic War. Okay.
yeah, it's a good song.
Now, Joan Crawford can be hit with a flamethrower from orbit
You got to
and
admit that
nuclear
piano in the
weapons.
beginning is
Fuck
freaking amazing.
you. You do not pay attention to any good qualities it might have. It is a terrible song. It is like the number one of all terrible songs. Uh,
No,
fucking
I'm
fucking
going to send you a worse song.
Bjork and what's her name that broke up the Beatles but didn't actually because they were already breaking up.
Yoko Ono.
Yoko teaming up to make screeching noises for 3 days straight is a better fucking song.
I am gonna send you two songs by Blue Oyster Cult that
Shut up! I don't care.
what song was this? Yeah, yeah. See, I told you, Raven's favorite band, Def Leppard. Um, because I don't want to burn them out. I don't ever want. I want every time I listen to them to still have that same feeling. The very first time I heard the song, "The Vigil" by Blue Oyster Cult, freaking, I literally left my body when I heard that song. But the worst song they ever wrote is a song called "Let Go." Okay, they've got two songs where they literally say the name Blue Oyster Cult or BOC in it. Okay, one of them's awesome. One of them is the lamest thing I have ever heard. The song's called "Let Go." where they literally spell out BOC. You could be whatever you want to be.
Okay,
It doesn't get much gayer than that.
no, Veterans of a Psychic War is fucking awesome. Joan Crawford lives or whatever the song was called.
Joan Crawford is risen from the grave. It's
Is
just called Joan. It's just
Joan
called Joan Crawford, but yeah.
Joan Crawford. That song needs to be wiped from all time and space.
I don't know,
With
man. Some of the
fucking
lyrics in that
magic.
song
That
just make me
song is
feel.
worth killing the band over.
That's
Not even in Minecraft, like real, like that song is so fucking bad. I would have no problem going back 90 generations and exterminating every member of that band's family line.
dude. That's rough. That's rough. Um,
Which would like wipe out a big chunk of the world. But like,
yeah. I heard the other day Ozzy passed away, but I'm like, he can't pass away. He's like, he's already undead. Um, and Judas Priest, absolutely one of my favorites. Yeah, it's called Joan Crawford. And if you, Justin, don't listen. If you listen or read the lyrics to some of the lines in that song, they're really like just classic. Just I don't even know how to describe it. Oh, I just saw a short video, the life and death of Tawny Katane. Man, uh, makes me, she wasn't much older than me, but makes me feel really old when I find out people like that have passed away. I'm like, but they were just oh yeah, that was 40 years ago, you know. Um, and the heavy metal cartoon, if you've never seen it, go find a way to see it because now you can find it
yeah.
anywhere. I literally paid money for a bootleg copy of it because it was only shown once on actual like cable or TV in a period of like 30 years. And one of my friends stayed up late to make a copy of it, and then he made copies and copies and copies of it. And I got a copy of it. I think I still might actually have it because I paid like a whole $10 for it, which was crazy price back then. And now
Uh,
I can just like order it on DVD for like $8 probably.
Tawny, she was the one on the hood of the car in
Yep, yep.
well, there's a couple of different songs, but what was the one I'm thinking of? It's obviously a White Snake song, but
Good, good.
it's,
Your
it's,
hatred has consumed you, Justin.
yeah, it's
That's
not
probably the
hatred; it's
first
just
time I've
mild
ever tried to do
self-respect.
the Emperor from Star
Uh,
Wars, but
it, it,
I think it's
Cal, great statement. It's not hatred; it's self-respect. My self-respect has consumed me. Anyone who does not hate Joan Crawford and everything that has her name in it has hatred
Harry
of
Canyon, laugh my
themselves.
ass off. Yeah, that was
Uh,
literally my favorite uh, segment of that movie.
Here I
Uh,
go again. That's the song.
what song?
The White Snake song. Here I go again. Yeah, it's Here I Go Again. Or is that just the main lyric?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Uh,
was,
Here
I
we
saw
go.
them in concert. I think they opened for somebody, maybe ACDC or something. It's amazing. I've seen ACDC more times than I've seen any other band because the band I was in, that was their favorite band, the bassist and guitarist, and so I saw them like a dozen freaking times, and it was always the opening bands except for Yngwie Malmsteen, who I despise. Um, but it was like I saw a lot of other, I'm not going to call them great bands, but they were just like even when I saw Rat open for them, it was like these guys are original. ACDC, not so much. Um, mind you, I never got to see it with Bon Scott, which would have been totally different. Don't get me
That's
wrong,
odd. I'm not a huge like. I preferred them after Bon
Bon Scott.
Scott.
Bon Scott was just made them actually original. You know what I mean? Because he had that one of those raspy sort of Axl Rose kind of voices. You just
Yeah,
like, why did they pick this guy? I mean,
it
anybody
wasn't the voice. It was the material. Like the I didn't like the songs.
really because
Uh, yes, yeah. I'd have to go listen again. It could have just been the time.
because
I
they
was
a lot of their funnier and kind of raunchier or racier songs were with Bon Scott. Uh,
Hmm. Like I
it,
said, it might have just been the time of my
it
life. I
could have
could
been,
go listen to
Attorney
again.
Deeds, very, very fun song.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
a whole lot of Rosie and, stuff like that. It's just, especially when he goes over the measurements of this girl. She's like this tall, but like this wide. It's just, just really, bad boyism at its finest.
hmm.
And then Brian Johnson came in and he was really good. Don't get me wrong. Back in Black, oh my God, that song. If that doesn't get your blood going, like "Start Me Up" from the Rolling Stones, also a band I can't stand. That song's fantastic. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, well put.
What was that band that did The Boys Are Back in Town?
Oh dear God, one of the greatest
Oh,
bands of all time, Thin Lizzy. Oh hell's yeah,
yeah. Thin
they.
Lizzy.
Oh my God, that song is like one of their worst songs. I'm not even
You're
joking.
joking. No, no. I have to disagree with you. I think that's one
I
of
mean,
their
how
better
much of
songs.
them have you listened to? Because
Uh,
they've got some stinkers. Don't get me wrong, but holy crap, they've got some great stuff.
uh, I'm pretty sure I've listened to everything.
Okay, okay, yeah, exactly. Per Big Balls, that's another great one. All
Hmm.
kinds of. That's one of the reasons why I like Bon Scott because, like Bloister Cult, there was a lot of tongue in cheek stuff going on that I really appreciate. As a wannabe writer, the lyrics were always the most important thing of a song for me because
The lyrics, yeah.
I you know I played bass occasionally, but otherwise I was screaming in front of a microphone and would spend hours and hours and hours trying to craft the perfect sentence, or rhyme, if you will, and that's where my headspace was. Thankfully, I did know some musicians that were really really good, some that couldn't play a freaking entire song all the way through, even once to save their life, but Hell's Bells is okay. I off that album, I prefer For Those About to Rock. Uh, but
Hmm.
uh, Brian Johnson did a hell of a job up until I think the album after Back in Black, and then they became really, like kind of a you know the samey. Prior to that, they had all kinds of stuff, and you know, I think that's kind of a thing, after so many albums, Blur Cult's a great example. Favorite band, their newest album, I haven't even bought it yet. They put out an album this year or last, and you'd think I'd be all over it. I listened to it on YouTube. I'm like, nothing's grabbing me. Other albums, there's at least like one song that I'm just like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. And that album, mind
What
you,
was their call?
believe it or not, what made Bloister Cult left Bloister Cult many, many years ago, which was the drummer and bass guitar brother team, which they did some of the best stuff. And they never, ever got the freaking credit for it. You never hear songs that were sung or written or whatever by the two brothers, the Bouchard brothers. They went on to do their own thing, Blue Coupe, but they're so freaking old that they kind of do now mostly like rhythm and blues kind of rock, old timey rock and roll. But what's weird is that another one of my favorite bands was Styx, who also had a brother team of guitar bassists that did a lot of the best stuff they ever did, but never got the credit because they weren't the lead singers. And those two bands, Styx and Blister Cult, did have a thing where everybody sang, everybody played, everybody contributed like a lot, not just like you got the one front guy that gets all the credit, drummer gets all the chicks, but the singer gets all the credit, and he's usually the least talented guy in the band. Um,
Mm. Did you get the 2020 album?
of
Boys are called The Symbol Remains.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It was 2020. Okay, that's
Yeah,
that's that's
because they
how.
have one out this year called Ghost Stories.
Oh. That's right. They have put out two albums, and it's the first time in a very very long time that they.
Yeah, the one before that was 2001,
Yeah.
Curse of the
Both.
Hidden Mirror.
I might have one of the two of those albums. Um,
Mm,
hold on, I'm missing a couple of comments here. I want to get back to.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, for those about to rock is it's freaking awesome. It depends on where I look. I feel there's still talent in some of today's music, and I won't turn it off just because it is my favorite. I don't listen to the radio, so I don't get anything new. Iron Maiden, one of those great bands that every song was like a story, and I really, really want that more
I
than
love story songs.
as opposed to look how awesome I am for 5 minutes,
Hmm.
or check out
Yeah,
my
solo bullshit fucking annoys me.
yeah,
Um,
I already like you guys. That's why I'm listening to you. I don't need you to tell me how much I should like you, kind of thing. It's like,
yeah, stop
and
jerking off and play the goddamn song.
right, and for the record, uh, that album I thought was freaking incredible. Uh, the album with Mr. Roboto on it. Um, it was it was an entire concept story album, and if you ever saw the concert and got to see them play Stairway to Heaven, not Stairway to Heaven, Hotel California, because in part of the song, one of the character in the album, one of the characters is this renegade rocker, because it was during the age of censorship and where rock and roll was getting really freaking hardcore freaking censored during the 80s, and they put out this you know futuristic story of these rockers who were on the run, literally, from the government, and each band member played a good guy and a bad guy throughout the story. It was a little too
Sticks.
operatic, and yeah, it was a little too um you know
Do I have any sticks on my computer?
uh too involved for most people, but it was still pretty awesome. Those three, what were the best? Uh,
I gotta go through my
oh, okay, you're talking about movies.
music.
I'm not a huge Dawkins fan. I know there were a couple songs I liked by him.
Mhm.
Rush is a great band, but uh,
It
after uh, not it wasn't Signals, but I think one or two albums after Signals uh, was a
take 'em or
little
leave 'em.
for me. Um, but I mean, up until uh, like Signals was my first album. Not my first album, the first concert I actually went to, and I saw one of my favorite bands open for them, and they blew them away, which is Golden Earring. Mind you, they had decades of
Yeah.
before them,
The,
but
the only band Shadow likes more than Golden Earring is Pearl Necklace.
uh, Quiet Riot, not bad, not bad. Uh,
You're not gonna do anything with that?
I couldn't hear you. What did you say? The only band I like more than Golden Earring is what?
Pearl Necklace.
Oh, ZZ Top. No, I was just
No,
talking.
no, 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 no. Just one of
Oh
Pearl
no, no,
Necklace.
dear God, no. And yeah. Uh, Yeah, Don Henley was awesome. It was he the one who did Boys of Summer and Last Worthless Evening and stuff like that, or am I thinking the other guy?
Boys of Summer is a great song too.
Yeah, very good song. The
I
guitar in
listened
it's
to
freaking
that.
amazing. And Rooster Radar Love is one of their worst songs ever. They have 100 songs that are better. It's
You
just the one everybody knows. But I mean, they're literally on tour right now in Europe. They've been touring for I want to say like
know,
60 to 80 years. They literally do over 200 gigs a freaking year at their age. Absolutely amazing.
mm,
Yeah, I think I have. I think Counterparts is the last album I listened to by Rush. Pantera, not really, man. It was they were kind of popular in the sort of meth speed metal era of the late '80s, early '90s. A lot of people I knew loved them. I saw them at Knott's Berry Farm. I think they opened for Motley Crue. and I was just like, another. It was there were so many bands like Pantera at the time, Slayer, etc., that were just like, uh, there was almost too many bands like that, and the uh, it was easy to get a lot of those bands mixed up. Scorpions, there's a couple of songs they have that I like, but in my circle, and this doesn't mean anything, but where I grew up, they were like a chick band. Bon Jovi, bands like that.
I have no
Poison,
problem with chick bands though. Like if I like the song, I like the song.
yeah, like the Zoo, freaking great song. Winds
Hmm.
of Changes, I don't like it. Everybody loves it, but I just don't. It's like I get why because I didn't grow up in the same area they did, but a lot of their stuff was kind of because English wasn't their first language or even a language they spoke. Um, it was really hard to understand why they didn't just sing in German or wherever they're from. It was like they were great, but why not do that which you're better at? It must have been like amazingly difficult to do what
Uh,
they did.
what band?
Scorpions.
Scorpions. Yeah,
Um,
they were
and
German.
Twilight Zone. Oh my God, um, great song, great video. Uh, I will never forget one day that song came on, and little Jackie, he was like 4, 5, maybe 6 years old, and that song just like hearing that song was like him eating like three giant freaking pixie sticks. He literally couldn't stop freaking rocking out to it. He was literally running around my house, just like it just I'll never forget it. It was the funniest freaking thing, that it just like hit him. I mean, because that song's awesome, even though it's
Mhm.
a little monotonous in the longer versions. That bass line just going on and on and on and on.
Oh, I hate that when they like come out with that extended version. Like, and it's just like filler.
Well,
You know.
because they were like a band that played a lot of more small gigs than stadiums and stuff like that. Uh, I could see how in certain discotheques and things like that in Europe that would be like very popular. So I could see why they did it. But yeah, Golden Earring, man, guys, hardest working band of all time, and some freaking amazing stuff. Even some really okay. Are you guys familiar with Spinal Tap?
Yes.
Okay, the
Not a huge
song
fan, but
where the
yes.
flower people are, or something like that. That hippie song
Mhm.
they did in the movie, only for a second when they were in their like '60s flower child sort of phase of the band.
You know, like the early what like Bob Seger was for his first two albums.
Worse than that, more like the Mamas and the Papas,
Oh,
like full on hippie fringe, John Lennon glasses, long hair, sandals.
okay.
They did that song, and I actually had the soundtrack for the first Spinal Tap movie, actually both. And
Have you listened
song
to
in its
Meatloaf's
entirety
first?
is that song in its entirety is actually on the soundtrack. Which if you listen to it, you could literally think that was a song from the '60s. Um,
Well, they probably got something that was like obscure and rewrote it, which is
maybe
not uncommon for that kind of stuff. You ever listen to Meatloaf's first album with Stormy?
who?
So Meatloaf was originally part of a duet called
Oh
"You
yeah,
Are
yeah.
My
No, I haven't
Stormy."
gotten around to that.
Okay, yeah. I have real trouble. Like it's sitting there on the catalog, but I always skip it. Uh,
I can see why. Well, the reason I brought up the Spinal Tap is because there's a couple of
well,
there's
it's all music like that. It's all like
Golden Earring had that era because they started like 1963 or something, you know.
yeah.
And there's a song that they did. I can't pronounce the title because it's gibberish. And I'll throw it. I should throw a music section in the Discord channel. But I listen to it, and every time I hear it, I'm like, you know, I guess maybe the '60s weren't as bad as I thought. Even for a bunch of hippies, because it's just like, you know what? There's something about this stupid song It's like,
Some disco can be fun,
well, it
right?
wasn't
It's
disco.
just
It was like flower child music. You know, I mean, literally bell bottoms, the whole bit. I mean, I think they
I
even
thought
talked
that
about
was
bell
in
bottoms in
the
the song.
disco era.
Yeah, Lita Ford. I saw her. I saw Lita Ford, Y&T, and Twisted Sister. One of the funnest concerts I ever been to. I went and bought tickets. I bought from a scalper for
Whoa.
all of $12, and went and saw Twisted Sister because my friend JJ French lived down the street from me, was the guitarist, and I couldn't get tickets because I had actually moved to a new neighborhood, and I'm like, I want to go see him. Funniest freaking concert I ever saw. D. Snyder, back when he was not a raging douche nozzle, was the funniest motherfucker. In between songs, he would say shit that was, you know, and then I don't know what happened. Too much smelling his own farts or something.
I wish I was a
Taking it
little
easy on the
older
old
to.
hippie people. I was trying to be nice, Cal. Uh, uh, you know what? I actually there's a Jefferson Starship song that just freaking is another one of those leave your body songs. Winds of Change, but most of the other stuff from them I never really got into. But I hear that song and I just freaking lose my shit, just absolutely lose it.
I wish I was old enough to have experienced the gasworks.
The
Fuck
what?
man. It was a nightclub here, like a
Oh, oh,
venue.
oh, oh, yeah.
You ever seen Wayne's World?
Yes.
It's where they perform the
Oh,
gasworks.
really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I know, Cal. It's just uh,
Just off grid. Was talking about his parents going to a venue in Toronto.
you know what, Mac? Neil was great, but I forget the name of the drummer for Golden Earring. He kind of blew him away. Just saying. Not as big a kit, but he's freaking awesome. He was awesome. Neil was a drumming god, but um, when Golden Earring finished their set, they had this thing where the drummer was doing this drum solo, and at the end of the drum solo, his chair catapulted him out and over the drum set to where he landed, freaking standing right in the center of the band, and they all did their bow together. Freaking, what? I don't care what Tommy Lee playing upside down. That don't mean shit. You try freaking getting catapulted out of a chair, you know, I'm color me impressed big time.
Yeah.
And mind you, it was the Signals tour for Rush. Great album. Had some really, really moving stuff on it. Uh, Still, all time favorite Rush albums. Always going to be Moving Pictures. That's where they went from, like one level to like two levels up. Could be, could be. I'd have to double check. Um, their names are kind of like, even though they're one of my favorite bands, I couldn't tell you all their names because they're just kind of like not catchy names. You know what I mean? That's my neighbor's hounds. They've got two pit bulls that are not really pets but guard dogs, because they're outside 24/7. And every time I take Chewy out to get the mail, I don't take him on a leash. He's got the run of the neighborhood. He's like, he may be the smallest dog in the neighborhood, but it's his neighborhood because he pees on everything and they all know it. And every time I walk by my neighbor's house, those two pit bulls are just making the saddest noises you've ever heard out of a dog because they see him just doing his thing. I'm
Hmm.
free, dun, dun, dun. It's my neighborhood. I'm gonna go pee on this. And that's heart, just heartbreaking because they just want to be, pets, not property, not an appliance. Which reminds me of an appliance that has begun to annoy the living, ever living shit out of me. We've got
Yeah.
these things in our neighborhoods. These security cameras that let you know you're being filmed. Hello, you're being videotaped or you're being recorded right now. Like, hello, I am never going to help you out in the case of an emergency. Because you
You
are,
should walk up to their doors and go, "Hello, can you shut that fucking annoying thing off? I
yeah.
don't care that you're filming me. I just don't want to hear it."
Well, it's an added level of security. I get it. I totally get it. I mean, if I had a whole bunch of shit I wanted people to steal because they knew where my house was and they knew I was trying to protect my shit, I would get one. But knowing what I know, I'd rather not any. I would rather have people not know that I've got cool shit worth stealing, and I wouldn't advertise.
Yep.
You've never heard of Radar Love either? Oh my goodness.
What the fuck? Even I've heard of Radar Love.
Yeah, it's literally, for me, a song that's been burnt out. Don't get me wrong. Every time I hear it on the radio, I'm like, yeah, somebody remembers one of the greatest bands of all time. But on my CD collection of them, I don't. I skip it. It's like it's a good song. It really is. I mean, especially if you look back how far ago or how long ago it was written. It's like this is pretty badass. It's like
Mm-hmm.
what's that song? Long cool woman in a black dress. That song
Uh,
was banging for its time. I was like, dang, this is like early precursor metal, from a good old fashioned rock and roll band.
mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. It's
That Styx album where they're all persecuted.
it's Kilroy was here.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
I'm just so because they have them digitally, right? And they go alphabetical in the program I use, so I predate them all the year they came out. So they're
yep,
the year they came out, right? So I listened to them in order. Um, and I had noticed I hadn't done that for Styx, so I'm doing that right now.
yeah. Mac Hollies, exactly. And it was funny because that was the hardest rocking song I would hear on AM radio, because that's all we had, my dad's car. And it would be like, I knew it was ancient, back even in the 70s. By ancient, I meant by like 10 years tops or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, this song's badass. The singer's voice, the guitar, everything, just
They took a 7 year break after that album.
who? Sticks?
Styx, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the band members got very, very sick. Um, or something like that.
Uh,
And the album, I picked up one of their last albums, and it was right after the drummer had passed away. And,
okay, yeah, and they were off for 9 years or 10 years after that.
and it was a song called "Dear John," uh, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't think I can ever listen to these guys again. It was so like, oh
Oh,
damn, I
dude,
can't,
yeah,
now I know what it's like, but back then I hadn't lost any of my actual friends, that I grew up with until recently. Well, actually, one,
Goodbye,
it's
Roseland,
kind of
Brave New World.
not a friend anymore when it happened. But Mac, do you have like that auto delete on your texts or something? Because I'm seeing it, but Per's not seeing them. Yeah, it is mini Wormwood. It really is. I mean, uh, especially since the singer is pretending to be a guy in the FBI. It was like back when it was like that was kind of like badass. You're like one of the best of the best of the best, sir, kind of thing. But then at the same time he's in a rock and roll band. How freaking badass would that be? You're working all day, for the feds, and then Friday night you grab your guitar, go out on stage. Just thinking about that, just like, dang, that must have been. I know that wasn't the case, but in my head canon, I'm thinking that's pretty badass shit.
Yeah, I don't know. The FBI always seemed cool growing up, but as I learned more about them,
Right. That's
you
what I was
know,
alluding to. Except for the X Files, and even then, there was like two cool, people in the organization, and they got pretty screwed over. I sing this. I sing this to my wife in my loincloth. Okay.
What?
Mini Warmut is. I think he's talking about a long, cool woman. But I sing this song to my wife in my loincloth.
Mm,
Cool. Like, you know, no shame in
big
here.
fan.
Well, yes, there is, but it's usually only
Yeah.
direction, and it's
We
unfathomable.
shame Shadow for being a
Tiger
gay
stuff.
porn
Thank you.
producer.
Thank you for the visual. Uh,
Ugh. We've seen too many naked men because of Shadow, and we
and by too many,
always
it
need
means
to blame
one,
him for.
just one.
One
Uh,
is too many. I worked at a gym for a year, and I saw fewer naked men. Cleaning the showers during open hours, I saw fewer naked men.
well, Mini Warmut, I think you won the chat contest of the evening. Welcome to the show. It's funny because as a kid, I was a huge Tarzan fan. So I remember as a kid watching the black and white. I think it was black and white. No, it was they were in color. I did watch the black and white Tarzans, but the Ron Ely Tarzan, the same guy who did actually play Doc Savage, um, you're in tears. If I could cry, I would be crying, but I'm crying in here for you, man. They literally had a commercial. I kid you not, during the Tarzan show. Some of you guys might remember this back in the, I want to say late '70s, early '80s, of a Tarzan loincloth you could buy on the TV. You could send in your money, mail order, kind of commercial, with the plastic knife and everything. You know what I mean? And they had like I'm pretty sure they had like kids through adult size. Um, I was just like thinking about it. The kid, as a kid, seeing the kid jump in the pool and playing Tarzan and shit. I'm like, all right, that's okay, I guess. Thinking about it now, I'm like, oh dear God. Nobody who bought one of those ended up straight. Just saying. It was like, just no way. I mean, Tarzan could get away with it. Conan could get away with it. That is it. There are two people in history that could get away with that. That's it. Just,
Well, if you actually read the Conan books, he didn't dress that way. That
no,
was
I know. He often wore, all kinds of different armor
normal
and stuff,
clothes, or well, normal clothes for the time.
but no pants. Just say it. No pants.
Yeah, he wore pants.
Nobody had pants back then. It wasn't like invented for, another 1,000 years or 10,000 years or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but just some of the shit you could buy on TV back in the day, uh, just crazy, stupid stuff. All those potato peelers and stuff. The youngins would call it cringe maxing. Yes, and they would not be
Well,
wrong.
yeah, they
Wrong
throw
at
the word
all.
maxing on everything. It's stupid. Oh.
Our folks thought the same thing about a lot of phrases we came
No,
up
it's legitimately stupid. Everything Zoomers do is retarded.
going commando.
Have since 1997.
I got nothing, folks. Come on, help me out here. It's got to be something. Cheers. Hey, Crafty, you still with us, man? You're awfully quiet. I hope you didn't fall asleep. Pull a
No,
Bruce
but
on us.
I'm fading.
Yeah, we should wrap up in 6 minutes.
Holy shit.
We're an hour and 20 over.
Well, over the 2 hour limit, yes, but it is Saturday night, and you're right. I do have to get up freaking squirrely tomorrow
Yeah,
for two actual games in one day. It's going to be rough, and I actually have to do some research for tomorrow's game.
yeah. You know how to look at a 3D model in your computer, right?
How so? Just by finding it and
Yeah, like if I send you a link to it or send it to you, you know how to look at it, right? Okay.
I should. I mean, if I'm sure I can work it out. My peepers work
Mm.
just fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just wondering.
Nice, nice mini warbot. I always wonder if Tarzan had a funny feeling you get when climbing up the rope in gym class.
Never had that feeling.
Yeah, we didn't have the rope, but we did have the pegboard, which, frick, I love that thing. You guys know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about?
Yeah.
Where you pull yourself up by putting the peg in the hole. Oh my god, I got so good at that. My teachers thought I was freaking crazy.
If my ceilings were a foot taller, maybe even 6 inches, I would build one of those endless rock walls. You know what those are? You know what a rock wall is, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they make those, but
Oh, but they just like on a treadmill.
yeah, like on a treadmill.
Yeah,
It's a
that would be
bunch of
fun.
boards that, and then it's got like a pressure gauge or whatever, so it doesn't it doesn't lower down until you're above a certain point, and then it goes down like a board. Then
Take care, off grid. I will see you tomorrow, man. Really looking
yeah,
forward to tomorrow's game. Yeah, the climbing board. Yeah, with
yeah.
beef up. Yeah, I was just like, I remember the first time I made it to the top. I was like so proud of myself that because it's not just strength. It's a little
Hmm.
kind of dexterity and whatnot. Yes,
Jacob's ladder.
that was a freaking trippy movie. It's the movie I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it's the one where he's having the flashbacks to Vietnam.
Wasn't that same guy from the paper chase in that one too?
I think so. It's what was his name? He was in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's weird how that
Uh,
memory keeps coming up the past couple of weeks because I actually watched the show and to this day I have no idea why. Because it wasn't science fiction. It was legal stuff. And uh, I don't know.
uh, Tim
No, it's a private
Roberts.
game because some folks don't want to be on camera, kind of thing. Um,
Roberts.
I think.
Yeah, the paper chase. Or
Um,
the player who was in that. Not
yeah, with John Houseman, and it was just. I think it was just one of those things that was on late, and I was up late. No. Um,
he was in St. Elmo's Fire. Or St. Elsewhere, sorry.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. It was just one of those actors that just
Tim Roberts.
got real lucky. Kind of nondescript kind of dude, but you
Yeah, he
know,
was married to Susan Sarandon for a while.
was he?
Yeah.
That's funny because I was thinking of the guy who eventually married her, Tim Robbins, I think, right?
Yeah, that's who it is.
Oh, that was Tim Robbins, really?
Yeah.
Oh, trip out. Huh? He was great in Shawshank
Shawshank.
Redemption.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Uh, not seeing the paper chase.
We will have a blast. It's the D&D game I've always wanted to run and finally get to run it. You're playing Twilight 2000 for the first time. One of these days I'm going to grab the original and give it a look through because I love everything the Games Designers Workshop put out. Just one of the hidden gem companies out there. They just had some great minds, but for some reason it was just like kind of out of reach for a lot of
Oh.
people. But that's me. But I'm gonna cut it off here because now that the sprinklers came on, I need to do a little sprinkling on my own, if you know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
will see you guys Monday on Justin's show, 10 a.m., 12,
One, one,
1
one
Central weirdo time.
p.m. Yeah. Real time. Yeah. If you haven't seen the Silo yet, it's worth a watch.
Okay,
Yeah. Season 2 is coming out next month.
okay. Maybe I'll get around to that.
Yeah.
I might. Well, I'm not.
Or read the books.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything tonight, but getting ready for tomorrow. I should
Mm.
be writing, but I totally spaced that I need to go and look through some of the material for tomorrow's second game. But take care, fellow gamers. Thanks per Mini War Mud, George, Mac, Cal, everybody else out there crafting. I hope you're still with us for the
Close up.
farewell, my friends. Thanks for showing up,
You
guys.
know.
I love you guys. I will see you guys all Monday, and
Party on.
as always, happy trails.
See ya.